Well, well, well. Something was a little off on that start up there. Let me go back real quick. Okay, hold on, hold on, hold on. Yeah, how'd that happen? Let me see. Why is it like that? Okay, this is not the right. This is not the right space. Okay. Well, well, well. Seems like I have time to do some stuff today in 14, and I wanted to see if I could do some stuff while also taking a look at what's going on in this video here. I got something to show. Um, for those of you who probably do not, well, okay, yeah, there's probably going to be a good bunch of you who knows who Telltale is. Hold on, I saw her here. She was here. Cherry was somewhere around me somewhere. I don't know. Um, yeah, there's a video here. I want to go ahead and show that real quick. Let me just go ahead and switch here. Is it working? Kinda is. Yeah, it's working. It's working. Um, there it is. Now hold on there. I have to show you this.
In 2012, Telltale Games was on top of the world. The Walking Dead was
Now I haven't. I've watched so many people play Telltale games, but I just wanted everybody to see like what's going on. I always wanted to know what happened to Telltale games.
a cultural phenomenon, revitalizing the adventure game genre and winning more than 80 Game of the Year awards. They were receiving
80?
offers from some of the biggest IPs in the world, begging Telltale to make a game for them. But just 6 years later, they were bankrupt. Behind the scenes was one of the most grueling crunches in gaming history, and all of the issues pointing to one man and his insatiable ego. In 2011, Telltale Games was still a small indie studio. They were founded in 2004 after Troy Molander, Dan Connors, and Kevin Bruner left LucasArts to pursue their own projects. Known for point-and-click adventure games like Tales from Monkey Island and Sam & Max, the team at Telltale earned a reputation when they started turning existing IPs into games. Wallace and Gromit, Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, and Law and Order. Yeah, a Law and Order video game exists. It was through these film and TV adaptations that Telltale received the opportunity of a lifetime, a chance to work on a game based on The Walking Dead. At the time,
They were blending. Basically, they were blending video games and like television and music together. No, not just music, but television and movies, I should say. Television and movies together, and they were making games out of that. Now, they were very more like you're gonna watch those games rather than you're actually playing those games, but it was actually pretty good.
Walking Dead was one of the biggest shows on television. Part drama, part survival horror, it had all the elements needed to make a solid adventure game. But Telltale didn't want to just emulate what they'd done with previous titles, they wanted to do something special. When development started in 2011, a big trend in AAA games was consequential decision making, putting players in a position where the choices they make would have serious consequences down the road. Games like Mass Effect and Heavy Rain really let players shape the narrative. Choosing this option would lead to this person not trusting you. Saving one person would lead another to dying. Stuff like that. Telltale decided to go full bore into this kind of storytelling, and boy,
Hey, what's up, Rio?
as a game, The Walking Dead Season 1 was incredibly simple, essentially a graphic novel with QuickTime elements. But the storytelling was gripping. The choices felt real, and overnight, the game took the world by storm.
I never really like sat down and played the game. I actually liked watching the game. Like I liked watching people play the game. The Walking Dead was great. Got a new screen because mine was really old. Oh, okay. Gotcha, man. Gotcha. At least it didn't have anything to do with memory.
first season released episodically, keeping the hype going for months, as people followed Lee and Clementine until the conclusion of Season 1 in November 2012. The game was easy enough to pick up that non-gamers could play it, and the consequential decision-making made each playthrough feel unique. With everything going for it, The Walking Dead Season 1 was not only one of the best-selling games of the year, it also won more than 80 Game of the Year awards. In 2012, the idea that a point-and-click adventure game could win Game of the Year was kind of shocking, but to its credit, the game was really, really good. But while everyone and their grandma was singing the game's praises, there was one person who wasn't exactly satisfied with its success. Telltale CEO, Kevin Bruner. Bruner was the one who designed the Telltale tool, the game engine used to make all of Telltale's games. While The Walking Dead was receiving awards left, right, and center, Bruner wasn't getting nearly as much credit for his work behind the scenes as he thought he deserved. Instead,
now that's crazy.
It was the writers and directors, Sean Vanaman and Jake Rodkin in particular, who were getting the spotlight. This irked Bruner, who felt that his contribution was just as important as theirs, and he took things kind of personally. Moving forward, Bruner more or less forbade creative leads from talking to the press about Telltale games. Bruner,
yeah, this is kind of like the downfall of Telltale games. Again, I don't really play Telltale games because it doesn't feel like a video game for me. I know it's fun. I like watching people play these kinds of games. I can't play them. I can't play them. 720p level of old. Yeah, you're somewhere back in like 2008, 2009. Yeah, I love watching people play these games.
Allowed to take interviews, be on panels at conventions, and have quotes featured in magazines. He wanted to be seen as the creative force, and was also afraid that if people like Vanaman and Rodkin got too much of the spotlight, they'd leave the company and start projects of their own.
Which I think they did they not?
Environment at Telltale, with many describing Bruner as the Eye of Sauron, watching their
The Eye of
These
Sauron.
internal issues were exacerbated when Bruner made the decision to rapidly expand production in 2013. At the time, Telltale was just finishing up their next game, The Wolf Among Us, and were trying to figure out what to make next.
Now, I've never seen The Wolf Among Us. That's like the Telltale game that I kind of skipped when watching that, but I heard it was alright.
With the success of The Walking Dead, Telltale had the capital and the reputation to license some of the biggest IPs in Hollywood: Batman, Guardians of the Galaxy, Game of Thrones. Over the course of a few short years, the studio exploded to over 300 employees, and Telltale signed on to create several different games for licensed
What's
IPs,
crazy?
promising to do for them.
What's crazy is a lot of these Telltale games, right? It's like what I said before. They're more or less like based on like these games are kind of like the bridge. It's the bridge for people who like watching things and at the same time want to do something about interacting with the story. They're interactive stories, basically. And that's not my vibe, really. I like playing video games, but I'm not sitting here to really watch television again. I want to be able to interact or something. Like, I want to be able to... Fuck, like, one of my favorite games of all time is Banjo-Kazooie. That the narrative in that is quite simple. The sister stolen must get. I'm Bear, my best friend's Bird, go through worlds. It's great. One of my favorite games of all time. It literally, that's the story. That is the story. And you know what? I wouldn't change it for the world because it's a great game. It is a great freaking game. "120 frames per second." Really, we're overselling how much of a difference it is. There is a difference, but the thing about 60 frames per second versus 120 frames per second is that not everybody can see it. Like, it won't matter to somebody who can't see those frames per second. It really won't. Like, okay. Back then, it really didn't need a massive story, right? Because games were just video games,
did
you know?
for The Walking Dead. On paper,
But nowadays,
the increase
it's
in
not like
manpower
that.
meant Telltale should have been able to put out games.
I'll
faster
explain
and
the
more
frames per
efficient.
second if you
But in
remind me.
practice,
But there
hiring
is a big
200 new
difference
employees
for a
meant the
good amount of
office
people.
quickly turned into a faceless mass of cubicles and middle management. Whereas the team that made The Walking Dead and The Wolf Among Us were a tight-knit crew who had been working together for a long time, their releases from 2014 onward were made by a larger, younger, and less experienced group. The size of the studio got too large too fast. To make matters worse, Brunner started to become increasingly overbearing and inflexible, micromanaging
Damn.
every part of the development process and wanting everything to be tailored to his own personal taste. For the creatives at the company, this was exceedingly difficult because they'd have some amazing idea that they wanted to share or some new way of telling a story, and they'd almost always get shot down by Brunner. It must have been a nightmare working for this guy, having the Grinch as your boss. Thankfully, this Christmas season, we've got a game that will thaw even the chilliest of hearts.
Please,
and the
please,
best part,
please,
it's free.
please, please,
Watch Her
please.
Realms
Dang
is-
it. And it's so long. Oh, Watch Her Realms is basically Raid Shadow Legends. That's all
Okay.
it really was.
Back to the video. It didn't take long for people to say enough was enough. Sean Vanneman, Jake Rodkin, and The Wolf Among Us writer Adam Hines felt that Brunner was stifling their creativity. In 2013, Vanneman
he
and
was.
Rodkin both left to start a new studio, Campo Santo, putting out the critically acclaimed Firewatch 3 years later. In 2014, Hines went to co-found a new studio called Night School, who put out one of my personal favorite games of all time, Oxenfree. Both of these games had similar elements to Telltale games in that they were narrative-driven with a heavy emphasis on decision-making, but they were also innovative in ways that Telltale games were not. And in the coming years, it would become clear that Telltale was being left behind as the game industry was moving forward.
Yeah,
One of the big sticking points was
So I did hear about that. I just didn't think it really was going to change anything for Telltale Games. I didn't even know the fact that Telltale Games is basically defunct at this point. But I did hear about this.
the game's engine, the Telltale tool. Kevin Brunner was the one who designed the engine way back in 2005. Since then, 2 generations of game consoles had come and gone, and the engine was becoming increasingly limiting and inefficient.
Kind of like what's happening with a certain MMO and their engine and how they should probably change and or update or upgrade what they got. You know? You know? You know? Something to that nature. You know? I'll stop.
Employees begged him to switch over to something
Remember
more
that they
modern,
went
like
bankrupt
Unity
at one
or
point?
Unreal
Yeah,
Engine,
that's-
but were
I
continually
didn't hear
met with
anything
the
about
same stonewall
Telltale's,
replies.
really.
It would take months to switch over, during which time they wouldn't be able to work. The Telltale tool is what gives Telltale games their identity. Most of these just sounded like excuses because Brunner wanted his tool to be the one the games were made on, and everyone just had to resign themselves to using the archaic engine. It didn't help that Telltale were also in charge of multiple billion-dollar IPs. The pressure to deliver for Game of Thrones what they did for The Walking Dead.
And look at this. I'm looking at so they got Batman, Game of Thrones, Minecraft, and The Walking Dead. I watched all of the Minecraft story. Holy crap, is it good? Holy crap, was that game actually fun to watch? It almost made me want to play it. It almost did it. It almost made me want to play it, but I was just like, you know what? No. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. I want to watch it. But The Walking Dead was also good. I watched that. I am a big fan of Clementine. Didn't see the Game of Thrones entirely because I think at that point everybody was watching like Game of Thrones. And Batman I watched because like I really missed Arkham. Yeah, Minecraft had a really good story. Walking Dead was an amazing Telltale's game story right there.
Multiple billion-dollar IPs. The pressure to deliver for Game of Thrones what they did for The Walking Dead meant that Brunner was strongly against taking any risks whatsoever. He wanted to keep rehashing the same thing over and over with a fresh coat of paint, trying to emulate The Walking Dead in a new context.
Right.
This approach was a double-edged sword. On one hand, it meant brands got exactly what they were asking for, but it also meant that all of their games started to feel the same. The first time you're faced with a decision that will permanently kill a character, it's shocking. The 10th time, it's predictable. Pretty quickly, Telltale started seeing a decline in sales. With a studio of 300 employees and multiple game licenses to pay for, Brunner couldn't afford to let things slip away. He had to turn things around quickly. So, his solution was to work his employees to the bone. He wanted more games, faster turnaround, higher output. Telltale went from working on 1 or 2 games simultaneously to working on 3 or more. To get everything done, Brunner began crunching his employees relentlessly. 5-day work weeks stretched to 6 or 7. 8-hour days increased to 12 or more. The work culture at Telltale Games became one of the most toxic in the industry, and there was a constant churn of veterans leaving the company only to be replaced by junior developers and writers fresh out of school. These new employees didn't have the same experience as those they were replacing, but they were naive enough to accept the 80-hour work week as normal. Unfortunately, the increased output resulted in Telltale oversaturating their own market. They were putting out so many games for so many different IPs, there was no way for sales to keep up. The games were still fairly good, but people can only play so many games at a time. An increased release schedule can't fix that. To top things off, other adventure games like Life is Strange were taking the genre in exciting new directions, while Telltale was stuck rehashing the same formula over and over. The result was a team of increasingly inexperienced creatives being worked to the bone, forced to put out suboptimal games before they were finished. The pot came to a boil in 2017, when the tension between Brunner, the employees, upper management, and Telltale's board of directors bubbled over. Brunner was politely asked to step down from his position and left the company later that year. In the aftermath of his departure came a sort of bliss. One source says, quote, "I didn't realize how much we had learned to hold ourselves back from thinking big. We'd really been trained to think small, and realizing that was a freeing experience." But the honeymoon wouldn't last long. In September of 2017, Pete Hawley, former SVP and GM of games at Zynga, was named the new CEO, and he immediately laid off 25% of the company. To be fair, those working at the company didn't hold it against him. Many believed the layoffs were inevitable, the result of years of mismanagement and a logical correction after the company aggressively scaled up back in 2013. Despite the layoffs, things seemed like they might actually be looking up for Telltale. Hawley decided to switch off the Telltale tool and began moving development over to the Unity engine. Telltale announced a few new projects, and many hoped they could recapture the same lightning in a bottle they did with their earlier releases. However, on September 21st, 2018, everyone got blindsided. Telltale was shutting down. Most of the employees didn't know what hit them. They received an email about a meeting in the morning, and at that meeting, they were told to pack up all their belongings and vacate the building immediately. Apparently, Minecraft Story Mode Season 2 and Batman Enemy Within didn't sell well enough to justify keeping the lights on, and those in charge decided to shut it all down. Telltale would keep on a skeleton crew of 25 employees to finish any active projects like The Walking Dead final season, while everyone else was being let go. In the aftermath, people began taking legal actions. Fernie Roberts filed a class action lawsuit after the company closed with less than a day's notice, no severance, and without filing for bankruptcy.
What? Whoa! Whoa! That's a little
all of which were in violation of California's WARN Act. Kevin Brunner sued the company for financial damages after being forced out by the board of directors. It was a hot mess of finger pointing, but at the end of the day, it was the end of an era. Despite doom and gloom surrounding the Telltale games specifically, there is still a hunger for the kinds of games Telltale was known for. Several ex-Telltale employees, including Nick Herman, Denis Lenart, and Pierre Choret, recently put out a new game called Dispatch, which took the internet by storm. It has a similar framework to those old Telltale games, but it also has tons of new features that make it feel fresh in 2025. Peaking at more than 130,000 concurrent players on Steam in its first week is proof that narrative-driven adventure games still have a place in modern gaming. You just have to be willing to innovate, and also work with the cast of Critical Role. The story of Telltale Games is a cautionary one, remembering that great games are not the result of one person, but many. If those writers who made The Walking Dead and The Wolf Among Us had been given the room to be creative, to try new things and experiment, who knows if Telltale could have survived a little longer.
Maybe.
Fortunately, ego got in the way, and yet another great studio fell to the wayside.
That sucks, man. That sucks. That sucks. I kind of feel bad now. I didn't even know that was like a thing, you know? Yeah, The Walking Dead was amazing. Minecraft was amazing. I'd say Batman was also pretty good, but like, you can't. You really think, man. You really think this is what happens when you start up. Like you're starting up a studio, and you're like your goal is to basically make like you have such dreams, right? And I don't have anything against the like here. I think it was around here.
It's predictable. Pretty quickly, Telltale
No, it was
was
right.
enough. Sean Vanneman, Jake Rodkin, and The Wolf Among Us writer Adam Hines felt that Bruner was stifling their creativity. In 2013, Vanneman and Rodkin both
Like,
left
look
to
at this.
start a new studio, Camposanto, putting out the critically acclaimed Firewatch 3 years later. In 2014, Hines went
What
to
up, what
co-found
up?
a new studio called Night School, who put out one of my personal favorite games of all time.
Like, their passion for gaming was still there, and it started with them like leaving so that they can make their own dream. But like, you know,
Oxenfree. Both of these games had similar elements to Telltale games in that they were narrative-driven with a heavy emphasis on decision-making, but they were also innovative in ways that Telltale games were not. And in the coming years, it would become clear that Telltale was being left behind as the game industry was moving forward. One of the big sticking points was the game's engine, the Telltale tool.
Yeah.
Kevin Bruner was the one who designed the engine way back in 2005. Since then, 2 generations of game consoles had come and gone, and the engine was becoming increasingly limiting and inefficient. Employees begged him to switch over to something more modern, like Unity or Unreal Engine, but were continually met with the same stonewall replies. It would take months to switch over, during which time they wouldn't be able to work. The Telltale tool is what gives Telltale games their identity. Most of these just sounded like
now, and the funny part is like thinking that in any way for a tool gives it its identity. Thinking that in any kind of way really kind of just destroys your current project, because you don't want to think like that. Like, yeah, if you're going to work on something that's supposed to be fun, like the end product is what matters, not really how it's really used. But that does think, like, it does make you think, well, what about using AI, right? Again, my thing is that as long as AI is used as a tool, I have no problem with it. But people aren't using it as a tool, they're using it as a replacement. There's a big difference. And in this matter right here, he's putting too much emphasis on an old tool because it gives its identity. Which is like, what are you talking about, brother? Like, what are you talking about, man?
Because Bruner wanted his tool to be the one the games were made
Yeah,
on,
he wants
and everyone
his
just
tool
had
to work.
resign themselves to using the archaic engine.
Like, you kidding me?
It didn't help that Telltale were also in charge of multiple billion-dollar IPs. The pressure to deliver for Game of Thrones what they did for The Walking Dead meant that Bruner was strongly against taking any risks whatsoever. He wanted to keep rehashing the same thing over and over with a fresh coat of paint, trying to emulate The Walking Dead in a new context.
Can't do
this
that,
approach
man.
was a double-edged sword.
Trying to, like, you see, this is the problem. This is the problem with gaming, just like game development in general, is that people at the top get too comfortable. They get too freaking comfortable with doing the same thing over and over because it just works. And then you have companies coming out trying to do the trendy thing, which is usually what it comes down to is like, hey, oh shoot, didn't mean to use that. Like, hey, did you see what they're doing with gaming nowadays? Like, what are they doing? And it's like, oh yeah, well they're well, now everybody is using everybody's going around doing live service. And live service gets a fucking hit because everybody's using live service. And then you got games that come out with live service, and then it just becomes absolute garbage.
On one hand, it meant brands got exactly what they were asking for, but it also meant that all of their games started to feel the same. The first time you're faced with a decision that will permanently kill a character, it's shocking. The 10th time, it's predictable. Pretty quickly, Telltale started seeing a decline in sales. With a studio of 300 employees and multiple game licenses to pay for, Bruner couldn't afford to let things slip away. He had to turn things around quickly. So, his solution was to work his employees to the bone.
Yeah,
He
that's
wanted
not a
more
good
games.
idea. That's never a good idea. I don't know why. No matter how much money you throw at an employee, they'll get mad eventually. And don't think that there's an endless source of employees out there. Once the name of your company becomes bad, nobody's gonna want to work for you. And I think a lot of people up at the top of corporations kind of lose that. Like they don't see, they start losing the fact that humans are humans. Gets weird and complicated.
Faster turnaround, higher output. Telltale went from working on 1 or 2 games simultaneously to working on 3 or more. To get everything done, Brunner began crunching his employees relentlessly. 5-day work weeks stretched to 6 or 7. 8-hour days increased to 12 or more. The work culture at Telltale Games became one of the most toxic in the industry, and there was a constant churn of veterans leaving the company only to be replaced by junior developers and writers fresh out of school. These new employees didn't have the same experience as those they were replacing, but they were naive enough to accept the 80-hour work week as normal. Unfortunately, the increased output resulted in Telltale oversaturating their own market.
Man,
they were putting out so many games for so many different IPs, there was no way for sales to keep up. The games were still fairly good, but people can only play so many games at a time. An increased release schedule can't fix that. To top things off, other adventure games like Life is Strange were taking the genre in exciting new directions, while Telltale was
This is also predetermined. You can skip
over and over. The result was a team of increasingly inexperienced creatives being worked to the bone, forced to put out suboptimal games before they were finished.
Fuck you. Are you serious?
In 2017, when the tension between Brunner, the employees, upper management, and Telltale's board of directors bubbled over. Brunner was politely asked to step down from his position and left the company later that year. In the aftermath of his departure came a sort of bliss. One source says, quote, "I didn't realize how much we had learned to hold ourselves back from thinking big. We'd really been trained to think small, and realizing that was a freeing experience." But the honeymoon wouldn't last long. In September of 2017, Pete Hawley, former SVP and GM of games at Zynga, was named the new CEO, and he immediately laid off 25% of the company. To be fair, those working at the company didn't really hold it against him. Many believed the layoffs were inevitable, the result of years of mismanagement, and a logical correction after the company aggressively scaled up back in 2013. Despite the layoffs, things seemed like they might actually be looking up for Telltale. Hawley decided to switch off the Telltale tool and began moving development over to the Unity engine. Telltale announced a few new projects, and many hoped they could recapture the same lightning in a bottle they did with their earlier releases. However, on September 21st, 2018, everyone got blindsided. Telltale was shutting down. Most of the employees didn't know what hit them. They received an email about a meeting in the morning, and at that meeting, they were told to pack up all their belongings and vacate the building immediately.
Oh my
Apparently,
goodness. I didn't mean to
Minecraft
sneeze
Story
like
Mode
that.
Season 2 and Batman Enemy Within didn't sell well enough to justify keeping the lights on,
I'll do
and
it
those in charge decided to shut it all down.
week.
Telltale would keep on a skeleton
next
crew
week. I'll
of
do it
25
tomorrow.
employees to finish any active projects like The Walking Dead final season, while everyone else was being let go. In the aftermath, people began taking legal actions. Fernie Roberts filed a class action lawsuit after the company closed with less than a day's notice, no
My
severance,
goodness.
and without filing for bankruptcy.
So you got people suing after leaving, and people being let go after being. I mean, they're suing after being let go and laid off. This is all a problem. This is all a problem. But I think you guys get it. I think I get it. I didn't know Telltale was actually in dire straits like that. I'm gonna be honest with you. But you know what? Now I know, and I'm glad I know. Anyway. Today, I have something to do. As you guys probably noticed, or not noticed, I actually got my, I've been doing a lot of crafting, do a lot of gathering. I'm almost at the point where I can start getting stuff. I have four more books to go for when it comes to going for, what was it, the folklore. Yeah, I got 4 more folklore books, and I basically now have a routine. Oh boy. Okay, but there is, let me see. Not too sure if there was like any other videos that were. Oh, look at that! I didn't realize there was kites all around. I didn't realize that. I didn't see too many videos talking about stuff today. I did see that there was a Mayoni video talking about the future patch and what's going on with that. And gaming in general right now. Actually, here's a name that you guys haven't heard for a little bit. Sun Grand Studio. Guys, remember him? Sun Grand Studio? Hmm? Sure you have. I'm sure people have heard about him, heard his name before. I gotta go to, not Yuctal, I gotta go to Heritage Found. There we go. Good old crunch time. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot more about the crunch time as well. There are too many people who love it. Too many companies. Oh, these people. Oh, these people. I'm pretty sure they're trying to get the orange script stuff. That's funny. Okay, that was weird. Not bad. And then next is Shaloni. Actually, it was this one? Oh! Alright, well, while I'm waiting for this one, because all we're really going to be doing is, we're going to be going after nodes. Purple script nodes all freaking day. I believe it takes an hour to get enough for 2 books. Yeah. I don't know if fishing is really the most efficient way to get purple scripts for gathering. That or I just don't know the trick. But let me find something here. But I need you guys to see this real quick because I thought this was interesting. Spearfishing? I don't know if spearfishing is also I don't know if that's the most efficient. I don't know if it's spearfishing or just regular fishing. I've honestly been following just a schedule.
Thank you for joining me today. Please grab a seat. My name is Jarrell. I develop games for a living.
You guys remember this guy?
Today we will discuss the downward trend of Final Fantasy and Square Enix's reported restructuring. Square Enix is reportedly in financial trouble after numerous big budget projects failed to deliver meaningful return on investment. I will bring up some examples of what is wrong with Square Enix and Final
You guys
Fantasy
remember him?
and share some advice on potential strategies that Square Enix can employ to remedy the situation. I generally do not ask people to like, comment, and share my videos here, but if you agree with the points of this video, then please like, comment, and share this video so we can reach the relevant people who would benefit from hearing this information. First, Final Fantasy 15 was almost a musical.
I was surprised when I heard this, but he is going to explain it. And trust me, it is weird.
Why is this a problem? In an interview with IGN posted June 14, 2013, Tetsuya Nomura watched the Les Mis film and wanted to turn Final Fantasy 15 into a musical like Les Mis. In the interview, Nomura stated
makes
he
no-
watches 2 to
like,
3
why?
movies a night.
Like,
Now, why?
I always knew that Nomura was actually kind of an odd person and character. Like, he's like the brains, I guess, behind Kingdom Hearts. But like, is he really though? I guess he is. I guess he is. And Kingdom Hearts is a very odd game. It's a very odd game, and its storytelling is very stiff. Right? I don't know why people swear by Kingdom Hearts' story so much, but I guess it's, I don't know, I don't think it's nostalgia. I think people like the gameplay of Kingdom Hearts a lot more than the story, because from what I can remember, it's a very, it's a very normal heroes always triumphs kind of thing. But it's Nomura.
Why is this a
I
problem?
think Nomura was also behind Dissidia NT. Now that I think about it, I think he was behind Dissidia NT.
This is a problem because it shows a lack
It dropped
of
off after
stability.
2. I think he didn't. He tried to do the same thing. He tried to reorganize the formula he used in 2, make the levels bigger with a lot of the nuanced movement abilities in Dream Drop Distance. And he tried to add that all together in 3, and what came out was a game that was pretty much kind of chaos in a way. It wasn't the most horrible, but I would prefer 2, to be honest. And it just felt more close knit with the story in 2, where in 3 it kind of went all over the place, because you're going to different worlds, still doing the Disney stories that were there with a little nuance, but the main Kingdom Hearts story became confusing as fuck. Like, outside the Disney stories, it became so confusing.
And artistic integrity and vision when it comes to the leadership that is in charge of Final Fantasy. If the leadership of Final Fantasy can watch a movie and be so powerfully swayed that they decide to change their game into a musical, it shows that this leadership is not capable of setting a target and sticking to that and following the path that they have set. And imagine how difficult it will be for all of the team members that are developing these games. How are they supposed to feel a sense of stability and direction if the leadership can watch a movie and suddenly think, oh, this has to be like Les Mis. I have to do this like Les Mis. That is the first point of evidence that shows that there is something very wrong with the leadership of Final Fantasy. Secondly, we'll look at the font of Final Fantasy Pixel remasters. It may not seem like a big deal, but the font of Final Fantasy Pixel remasters are illegible.
I almost went ahead. Oh, I got to retry. I almost went ahead and got the Pixel remasters, but then I thought about it. I'm like, I could just get the classics, right? Like, the classics aren't really gone. You can still buy the classics on Steam somehow, some way. And lo and behold, it's like they really want you to buy the pixel remasters. Like they really want you to buy the pixel remasters. The problem is, um, the pixel remasters have a lot of problems. Like a lot of problems.
They are ill-fitting, not to mention the previous mobile demasters of Final Fantasy 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6 were incompetently assembled with inconsistent pixel density between environments, characters, and heads-up display elements all clashing. Inappropriate use
He's
of
right about that,
texture
actually.
filtering on environments results in a blurry mess with graphical tiles not blending seamlessly together. All of this combined with the very inappropriate font used in the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster
They this is all true. This is all true, by the way.
shows that there's a lack of competence, care, or both. In the event of either would be very damning, but it shows that if management is able to look at the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters, if they are able to look at the font that was used that is not appropriate for the product, if they are able to look at that and say, yes, this is fine, we approve it, let's ship the game the way it is, that is very telling that the leadership of Final Fantasy is not capable of understanding the difference between a good product and a bad product.
The leadership of Final Fantasy has switched hands. At least I think I want to say I want to say the leadership of Final Fantasy switched once, right? With 14. And even before that, it was like there was a set goal for Square Enix what they wanted to do and the design of their games. And then when it came to Final Fantasy 13, they were gearing towards action combat. And then 15 they went full throttle with action combat, and it was just, it just didn't work out. And 13 was a little weird too, cuz I believe the creator or the main director of 13 was like in love with his own character or something like that. Like he was so in love with lightning. He even got like lightning. He put lightning in like commercials, and um she showed up in commercials, showed up in like Vogue or something like that. It was just a little, it was strange. It was strange. Square Enix is not the same Square Enix as it was before, although there are a lot of the old guard that's still in there. Um I'm just not too sure why why at this point that they aren't trying to revolutionize their philosophy and oh shit. Um Oof, this is. Oh man. All right. Well, I got lucky. I got real lucky with this node. I got super lucky, man. I somehow did this with like. Oh man. I'm pretty sure I almost screwed the pooch with this one. I almost screwed the pooch with that. Like this one was really bad. Yeah, I almost messed up. All right, now I gotta go to. I gotta go to. I have to go here. Oh my goodness. Anyway, Square Enix, yeah, they're different. They're very different, and I don't know if the leaders kind of like stuck in the past, or they're not really making sure like what people actually want from a video game. But like their Final Fantasy games, they steered away from turn-based combat, thinking that turn-based is kind of like, back in the, it's old. Like nobody really wants to play turn-based anymore. And the problem with that is that's not true. It's because there was no innovation. Nobody wasn't trying to evolve the turn base until like, Clair Obscur 33 came out and pretty much proved, yes, you can. use turn based, and it still would be fun. You know, the game of the year. Honestly, Square Enix and their leadership probably know less of video games than they should. They know how to sell it, and what they make is kind of like the property of, for now, what was it? I guess Yoshida's fine.
They are not
I
capable of
think Yoshida's
understanding what
fine.
the end experience will be like for the end user. I personally can't understand the thought process behind the font choices, and while I understand the game has been updated on some platforms to add new font options to make the font more legible, that is not good enough. The problem is that it was shipped this way to begin with. Next, we'll take a look at Final Fantasy VII Remake. Final Fantasy VII Remake does not tell the story of Final Fantasy VII.
It does not. He's right about that. Final Fantasy VII is a different story. Um, like the first remake was like a good introduction to, for me personally, to with a little bit of fantastical shit that happened in the end there with the whole shadow figures. Honestly, the shadow figures are, they were a little too much, man. They were a little too much. But like, um, I want to say that it was fine for me. The remake, it was fine for me, but it obviously was trying to set up a different story. And that different story ended up being kind of like a mixed bag for a lot of people, because it was following the tracks of the same game, but it was basically saying like, "Hey, look, remember this, guys? Remember how Final Fantasy was? Now it's in 3D. It's a full freaking 4K." And then the story was really changing. Like Rebirth was definitely not the full scope of, it wasn't telling the full story of 7. It was changing it, in my opinion.
Final Fantasy VII Remake tells the story of how popular Final Fantasy VII is and how the people making it will not be told what to do by their fans.
True.
In the Final Fantasy VII Remake, Sephiroth is obsessed with Cloud and is constantly trying to kiss him. Final Fantasy VII is my favorite game of all time, and I was very excited to try the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I was confused and shocked to find that Sephiroth was introduced into the story very early. And it shows that the writers of the Final Fantasy VII Remake were not interested in telling the story. They were understanding that Final Fantasy VII is very popular.
You can thank Nomura for that one. Nomura is a weird guy. Like a very, very weird guy. Nomura wanted to, like, they were always set in planning of the changing of the story, I think. And the changing of the story was supposed to be like a different timeline. Like there's a bunch of theories out there. I already knew what it was going to be because like Aerith was acting a little bit strange. Then at the end of 7 remake, it was like, what's Zack doing here? And Zack walking around seeing like different versions of Tifa, Aerith, and I guess Cloud, and it's like they all got like basically destroyed and stuff. Um, yeah, it was definitely telling a different story. I was with it though. I was with it because honestly, if you can take a story and remake it in a proper way, then I'll be all for it. I think the problem is that it became too much of a like, what kind of headcanon is this? The fuck is he trying to make, man? And that's all Nomura. Nomura is like really, he's making his Final Fantasy 7, I think. He's really making his Final Fantasy 7. He's not really making, Final Fantasy 7 as we remember it, just remade. Nah, he has something going on there.
That people know who Sephiroth is, so introduce him early into the story so people can see him. The average exchange of dialogue between Sephiroth and Cloud in the Final Fantasy VII Remake is thus: Cloud, I love you very much. You smell like raspberries. Your breath smells like the summer breeze. Kiss me, Cloud, is the average line of dialogue for Final Fantasy VII Remake. It is a story mocking and criticizing fans for wanting a faithful retelling of the story, and it is too aware of the fact that it is a very popular and well-known game and story.
I think that's true,
The
actually.
time ghosts and alternate multiverse story element is obviously copying a popular film. As we know, Tetsuya Nomura
No, I obviously watched a little bit of this, but I didn't watch past this, so I don't know what movie he's referencing.
is very pliable and easily influenced by popular films.
True, he is.
The film in question is Avengers Endgame, which launched April 24th, 2019.
Excuse me?
Final Fantasy VII launched almost an entire year later on
That might be a bit of a stretch. I don't know if you can change the entire plot of a. Well, broken up into 3 games, yeah, maybe you could. Yeah, maybe you could. I want to think that Nomura isn't really too influenced about different movies, but he is a very odd guy. He ruined NT for me. And as much as I love Kingdom Hearts 1, Chains of Memory 2, I was okay with Dream Drop Distance, really didn't care about Roxas' story with 356 over something something days. The freaking, those titles were stupid and weird. But Nomura in Kingdom Hearts, I mean, that's his baby. What he did with Final Fantasy 7, it's a very odd thing to think about. It's a very odd thing to think about, like what he did.
April 10th, 2020. If you are wondering if that is enough time to make changes to where they add time ghosts and rewrite the story, yes, absolutely. That is enough time. 1 year is plenty of time to shoehorn in the elements of the time ghosts and the multiverse stories. It's plenty time. If someone sits at home watching movies or scrolling through social media all day long, they are not an appropriate leader for creative or artistic endeavors. It
Well,
means that
I
they
mean,
are a mental and emotional slave
I mean, he has to work, so I get his point though. I get it.
to the marketing machine that is the internet and modern media landscape. A strong creative leader, someone with artistic vision, intent, and integrity, is someone who lives a full, varied life, spends most of their time outside of their home experiencing the world, meeting with and communicating with many people, and who is constantly working to understand the world and the people in it. Final Fantasy does not have that in their leadership at the moment.
I'll be honest with you. I think he's right. Even Yoshi P, I think he's right. I think Yoshi P is probably more or less trying to keep some sort of balance with Final Fantasy 14. Nomura, I don't know what he's trying to make. Well, they took Nomura away, I believe, from Final Fantasy the main line and put him back on Kingdom Hearts. So he's making Kingdom Hearts 4. And they asked Yoshi P to make the next mainline Final Fantasy, but he went the I would say he went the penultimate. He definitely went the penultimate action combat Final Fantasy. Maybe not the penultimate because, you could always have more, like, you could have party members and switch between them, but he really went with the safest route when it came to 16. It has a great fan-fucking-tastic story. The problem is that it was a solo action game, and thereof, it's like, is this really Final Fantasy? Are we playing a Final Fantasy game? That was the question. 16 in my book, it's still a solid game, but it's far from like the Final Fantasy that I remember, where it's a team of people. If there was like a Final Fantasy that really talks about individual stories, of different characters, I think that's Final Fantasy VI. That was pretty much like your best example for that. But for what we have now, I would love to see a Final Fantasy game that went back to its turn base, right? I would love to go back and have a turn-based Final Fantasy game that had a good story, good characters, a good fun time. Probably innovate on the turn base, not just make it a plain turn base because we can't do anything about it. It just seems like we're losing more creativity in terms of making video games.
Let's quickly discuss Forspoken, a game that was developed and published by Square Enix. People who have played
Oh
Forspoken report
God.
that it has incompetently written dialogue, story, and characters.
Okay, so this was just the problem of advice that they were getting. Square Enix honestly shouldn't have listened to anybody when it came to the creation of Forspoken. Like, I don't even know how this idea of isekai black woman, basically, all powerful, she's kind of a, she's kind of the bitch. She's kind of a bitch, really. I'm not gonna lie, I hated her as a character, like, by a lot, but uh it's she's a bad character. Let's just get that out the way. She is a bad character, and the people who were advising her character design had they like, I don't know what the fuck they were smoking, and I'm pretty sure they came from those types of groups too, so they had certain ideologies going on there, but she was a bad character. They obviously took a lot from the West. She's a pure Western, quote unquote, modern black woman. Did not work whatsoever. The fucking game did not work whatsoever.
Which are unlikable.
Not to mention, I think Square Enix came out with another game that was supposed to be live service. I forgot the name of it, but that game just did not work neither.
The game has poor performance and optimization and does not live up
Joker was a
to the
disaster,
pedigree
absolutely.
of developers that Square Enix is known for. Modern Square Enix developers are creating video games with the intent to make a video game. That is a huge problem, but it is not solely a problem for Square Enix.
AAA companies are always trying to find a way to break the ball, to find their next cash cow, find something they want to milk. There's a reason why live service was used so much. They don't want to make any type of like single player game, and every time Square Enix allows like their B team to be creative, like, I don't know, Octopath Traveler or Bravely Default, and it becomes very popular when it comes out. People rave about it. Those who are like old people like myself are like, "Oh shit, I like this." And Square Enix are like, "Oh, okay, how did this become popular?" And they just don't figure it out. Like, they don't figure out how it became popular. They're just sitting there scratching their heads like, well, I guess we'll just make them, we're gonna put more budget into it and make them do it again, I guess. Like, that's what I think the higher ups are in the company for Square Enix. They're just like, so Octopath Traveler worked, how did you do that? And they're trying to explain, well, turn-based isn't actually dead, and people will play a game as long as it looks good on the eyes, which is the reason why we didn't go with realistic graphics. We went with Pixar in a 3D world, and that worked out just fine. And people just wanted to play an actual fun game. Meanwhile, what the CEOs are listening, they're just like, no, 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 the game sold over 1 million, blah, 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 blah. So they're not really hearing anything. They just want to hear, like, okay, whatever, just make another game. And they just want to hear, like, oh, so we did sell over 3 million copies, and because we did this. Well, whatever you did, just do it again. I swear, that's the board meeting. We're just like, how did you do it? Well, we blah 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 blah. They can't. They don't know. They didn't want to hear it. Fuck, man.
That is the modern landscape. I will say that again. Modern Square Enix developers are creating video games with the intent to make a video game. Now, what is wrong with that? Their intention is to get people on the internet talking about their video games.
I think I see what he's saying here. He isn't what he's, and I think he's differentiating it, right? My definition of a video game is different from what he's saying, so I understand what he's saying because modern video games is different from a good video game. You know what I'm saying?
And this is not how things were done in the past. We did not have social media. We did not have the internet in years past, in decades past.
He's right. You know what we had? We had television. We had demos at Pizza Hut. We had rentals, that you can go to a freaking movie store or game store and you can rent or buy the game. You had people from schools talk about shit like Final Fantasy VII was my first Final Fantasy game. But by and large, even though it is my first Final Fantasy game, it's not my favorite Final Fantasy game. My favorite is still, and it's always going to be 9. But like the way video games was such a good like go around. Like you went to school, if you didn't play Final Fantasy 7, you're a broke stupid bitch, and then people just didn't like you because you didn't play Final Fantasy 7 in the boys group. It's always the boys group. Like this was during the time when Dragon Ball Z Toonami was getting like super popular, and this is 97, so I was in elementary school, right? So all kids went outside, and when they played video games, it was a privilege. It was a privilege. I went outside a lot. I played with my friends outside, and video games was only like a 1 to 2 hour adventure. You know, it wasn't an all day, every day thing. It was a time where you get to sit down, and play a game to your leisure. Video games didn't take that long. Nowadays, we have video games that want to take up all your time and money. And now we have live service games all over the fucking place where it has you logging in, right? You have to log in just to do shit. The game I'm playing right now, Final Fantasy 14, has that. It has that. It doesn't make you do it. It's an option, to be honest. You really don't need to do anything. It has a lot of catch-up tools just as well, but fuck, man. Captain Crunch had a demo in the cereal. Exactly. I think the most famous one for me was Pizza Hut. They were just giving demos out, right? And especially for PlayStation 2 had demos all over the damn place. You go up to a hair salon, they had a demo right there. It's like, here's a demo for that. Like, well, what? He's like, yeah, you have a PlayStation. I was like, well, yeah, but I don't know what this has to do with you cutting my hair. And they gave you a demo. And I go home, I play this demo. I play it over and over and over and over. Fuck. I remember the demo for Crash Bandicoot that had like 28 games in it. And it had secret games. Like, in total, it looked like it only had, like, 14 or 12. And then you put in a code, it actually had 28 demos in it. I don't know why they were hiding demos inside a demo disc. I don't know why I was doing that. But, because you want the games to actually be played in the demos. But, like, even after that, it was, like, PlayStation Underground. And, bro, I remember the Crash Bandicoot 2 demo was in there, and that demo, because I love playing that demo all the time, and I was anticipating Crash Bandicoot 2, I was playing all the other demos. I got into Tony Hawk because of that, man. Got into Tony Hawk, got into Metal Gear Solid, and there was a demo for Final Fantasy VII. It's probably one of the most famous demos out there. It was basically the bomb run. It was the whole first act of the bomb run. That was the demo. But it was enough of that demo that you loved it. And they did the same thing with Remake. They did the same thing with that demo. The demo for Remake was the bomb run, which was a work of genius, to be honest.
The pillars upon which Final Fantasy was built, Final Fantasy 4, 5, 6,
Final
7,
yeah,
and 8.
Final Fantasy.
Those were games
every Final Fantasy, from I think from 7, 8, and 9. 7, 8, and 9 had demos. 9's demo was very, very, very short and very rare. Because it didn't have much in it, to be fair. I don't think 9 gets enough attention. Final Fantasy 10, I don't know if had a demo. I just know a lot of people wanted to play Final Fantasy X, including myself. It was, I think, I don't know if it was astronomical, maybe it was. I just know that they had a good marketing team that was smart during the time.
Created to
But
give an
like God, it
experience
was so
to the
good
end
back
user.
in the day with like
Again, the game.
like the demos got you into the game. You didn't care whether or not the game lasted for like, you know, freaking 5 hours to 10 hours. It didn't matter how long you were playing the game. You were just experiencing something. You weren't just playing a video game. You were experiencing the game. You didn't just play Final Fantasy VII. You experienced Final Fantasy VII. Same thing with 8. 8 was an experience. Even though a lot of people say that they didn't like it, nowadays people are saying, oh, it wasn't so bad. I always said that Final Fantasy 8 wasn't so bad. The one game, the one Final Fantasy that I truly don't like is probably Mystic Quest. Even 2 had like 2 people, a lot of people didn't like 2, right? I was okay with 2. Wasn't my favorite, I'll be honest. But like Mystic Quest sucked. Cold take, bro. Well, yeah, I know. Everybody hates Mystic Quest. I know. But right? People usually hate it too. People usually hate it too, okay? All I'm saying, listen, all I'm saying, right? Square Enix used to know what they were doing. I have no idea what they're doing now. I just can't put my finger on it, but I think there's someone or some people higher up who, what if I got hit by that? What the fuck? I don't know what the, whose mindset, who, the president, I don't know who's coming up with these damn ideas when it comes to Final Fantasy games and the games that they want to come out. I don't know why they think that people wanted a black chick being isekai'd into another world that has all the girl power and having an attitude that is like garbage. She had garbage. Like Forspoken was not a great game. And I don't know who said, someone quote me, or someone quote them, right? Someone, like, I don't know who it was, but someone in Square Enix said turn-based strategy games are not popular anymore. And I'm just like, who told you that? Who fucking told you that? Who's spreading lies, man? What's up, Athodra? Who spreads these lies to me? Who has done it? Yeah, Expedition 33 did win Game of the Year, huh? And that was a turn-based strategy. Personally called out Sakaguchi. Exactly, because you know what? You know what Sakaguchi did when he created Final Fantasy, right? And I think his other game, Fantasian, is heavily slept upon, but he made a point. That dude on stage made a point. He gave shoutouts to Sakaguchi, not Square Enix, Sakaguchi. Metaphor? Bro. Don't get me started. Metaphor? Persona 5? Worldwide phenomenon? You speak truth. You speak so much truth, man. But you know what? Square Enix is not going to realize that. Was canceled because of Forspoken and became Forspoken's biggest hater at that moment. I'm gonna tell you this. I don't like Forspoken for a lot of reasons. But it disrupting the DLC for 15 isn't one of those reasons. I'm gonna be honest with you. 15 is not my favorite Final Fantasy game. It just isn't. I don't hate 15. I just it doesn't vibe with me. I didn't like the story, the later half of the story. I was definitely okay with like the bro road trip. I love that one. I love the beginning of the story. I love the open worldness of it. I loved all of that. I'm just saying, the second half was a lot for me. I just it wasn't my vibe. It just wasn't my vibe. 15 made me sad and 16 didn't make me feel. Legend of Dragoon. I wish if Legend of Dragoon was made by Square Enix, I wouldn't be surprised. But that was purely Sony, and Sony still doesn't want to dip into the Legend of Dragoon at all. And it breaks my heart to see a game like that just die in obscurity. They brought it back, by the way. They brought Legend of Dragoon back in the PlayStation Store. You could play the game. I have it in my PS5. But the problem is that they brought it back because people kept talking about it and saying, "Man, remember when Sony actually had games?" I can't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's an old joke, but it's a funny joke. I think it's still relevant too.
Offer an experience. These games
Get started with
we were
Metaphor and
modern days,
Persona 5. Oh my god.
modern games.
Persona, I don't know why people didn't get a clue when Persona kept coming out with hit after hit after hit after hit after hit, right? And I know the people over in Persona loves remaking their games to like Golden or Royale and stuff like that, but it always has extra bobs and bits, extra hours to play the game, and it was good, and it was still turn-based, and Square Enix still sitting here saying nobody likes turn-based, and they're stupid for it. Like, they're dumb.
Games are created for social media and content creator engagement. Again, games of the past were used to give the end user an experience. Games that are created these days are created for social media and content.
Yo, my man's wearing the... Look at that. He's wearing the Final Fantasy X necklace. I didn't even notice that. I didn't even notice that. Yeah, that's Chuck's sign, right?
What is wrong with that? The social media and content creator landscape is shaped entirely by ad sponsorship,
making yellow after red and blue for every
social
generation.
media and content creator.
It's kind of funny because it pretty much kind of reflects that.
The viewer to make them more pliable.
Oh god, don't get me started on Pokemon. Holy shit, dude!
Marketing loop to serve them advertisements. This landscape gives content creators a false sense of validation and self-worth because they see they have subscribers and people who worship them, and advertisers serve their products to people whose brains have been turned to mush by brain rot content. The modern gaming landscape, especially the leadership for Final Fantasy, is making games for social media and content creator engagement, not to give the end user an experience.
I messed up.
So how do you fix this problem? How do you fix it? Really, the only way to fix this problem, you need old-fashioned mentality. You need old-fashioned values. We have already tried modern values, modern approaches, modern audiences, modern technology, modern digital communications. We have tried all of that, and we have seen its failures.
Let me tell you about what happened with modern shit. What's going on with modern shit, right? And what's funny is that the AAA industry created this modern culture in a way, right? Because as things kept going with this modern culture that they were going with, they're seeing that, oh, okay, so people love playing things like World of Warcraft, where they're literally spending hours upon hours playing that one video game. So a ton of game companies wanted to try to mimic that. And not to mention, modern games nowadays are basically freaking ADHD, always exciting game, constantly being rewarded, dopamine feeding video games that are supposed to catch people's attention and keep them in the game for as long as possible, and giving them suggestions, just slight suggestions, to spend $1, $5, or $10 here and there, and also subscribing to some sort of seasonal pass. That's what modern is right now. That's a modern video game. If you're not doing that, you're never going to succeed in video gaming. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm sorry. I forgot that the game of the year is Expedition 33, and that's just a game that you buy once. That's a turn-based strategy game that, Square Enix said that it was not relevant anymore. Nobody wants a turn-based strategy game. By the way, it's one player, not multiplayer, because in AAA it always has to be a multiplayer game. That's how that works. That's how good games works, because everything needs to be Minecraft, Fortnite, CS:GO, League of Legends. Shall I go on? I'm probably annoying the shit out of people right now, but fuck, dude. Like, Pokemon was one of the biggest disappointments that I've ever, like, not only did they fuck up my boy, like my boy for alligator, like R.I.P. my boy for alligator, who got like the worst looking mega evolution I've ever seen in my life. A fin that's the shape of the head and is supposed to be his a bigger jaw. Whoever came up with that design should be fired. Yeah, I don't know who it was, but somebody gotta be fired in that Pokemon company. I'm just saying, like, you look at Feraligatr, I'm just like, so if they wanted to emphasize on the jaw, why did you give him a fin? Why did you turn his arms into teeth? Why does he do that thing with his arm like that? No, this y'all fucked up a little bit here. And Pokemon, bro, they messed up Legends, dude. Like, I loved Legends Arceus. And Legends Arceus, whatever. That game was a side project, by the way. That was a side game. And it got more praise. It didn't sell more, but it got more praise from the Pokemon community than Scarlet and Violet. Think about that for a second, Think about that. Looking at you, Warzone. Oh, sorry. Looking at you, Warzone, bro. Remember when everybody tried to add a battle royale and didn't try to change it up whatsoever? But Warzone worked for a lot of people in Call of Duty. They wanted that, and then I guess they did Warzone again. It was like new Black Ops came out. I don't play Call of Duty. You guys can tell. You guys can tell. And listen, it's not that multiplayer doesn't work, right? Co-op, yeah, unless it's co-op, guess what? Co-op does work. Look at Split Fiction. That's a good game. Look, like, and the company that made Split Fiction also made other co-op games with good story, good gameplay. It was a good co-op. They made good co-op games. It was good. I think it was the same dude who was cussing at the Game Awards that one time. He's a funny dude. I like him. He's a funny dude. I think one of his games won Game of the Year, but I think he deserved it. I don't know if he's indie or anything like that. I think he's AA at this point, but like it was still good. It was still good.
What we need now are old-fashioned values and leadership who has a strong enough vision to forge into existence something beautiful that has not existed before.
Now, don't get him wrong. He's not saying old-fashioned values, meaning old types of games with old mechanics. He means the values of old-fashioned would be more creative, more talking about the entertainment of the game and how much fun that game is supposed to be and what they want to make of that game. Old values doesn't mean going back and making a 2D pixel arted something game. I'm pretty sure what he's saying when he says old-fashioned values is just like, when you make a video game, what are you making it for? Like, are you making it for the money? If you're making it for the money, you're already fucked up. you already messed up there.
What are old-fashioned values? Well, I'll tell you what it's not. It's not investing in cryptocurrency.
Oh my goodness.
It's not using NFTs and
oh my
good.
This one killed a lot of people. When they saw, what was it? Symbiogenesis. There was like, it had a code name, right? I remember this. I remember this in an article. There was a code name for this game in particular, and people were just like, are they making such and such now? Are they bringing that back? Is there going to be a remake? And people were making articles and videos about it, making like guesses on what it was going to be. And then it actually came out, and people were like cussing up a storm. And I don't blame them for that, man. I really don't. I honestly don't. I do not blame them for that. Like,
nostalgia to milk your loyal.
Also, I remember this too. Final Fantasy maker Square Enix plans aggressive NFT investment. You guys remember that? I'm gonna be honest with you. When I saw that coming from Square Enix, I kind of just lost hope. And where's the NFT shit gone? Where are they? Not here no more. They're not here. They're gone. NFT games defunct. Was it a good idea? It never was a good idea. Like, what the fuck?
It's not using NFTs and leveraging nostalgia to milk your loyal audience for their money, Old-fashioned values are about beautiful artwork that communicates to us on a deeper level, emotional and even spiritual. Old-fashioned traditional values are about focusing on writing a strong story with compelling, likable characters that audiences feel like they are going on an adventure with. Old-fashioned values mean you stand by your convictions and you do not bend your beliefs
Oh,
just because.
you're talking about Power World, right? Okay, so like, I haven't been keeping up on Power World news. I don't know if they're winning the lawsuit or not. I can't really say for sure. I'm not gonna try to make a guess. I'm not gonna try and say that they are winning. What matters is the end result of the lawsuit, not the current battle. Because if we start making guesses and Nintendo does a thing and they actually get them for something, then it's like, well, I was wrong. I feel stupid with some egg on my face. So I'm not really going to say anything. Really, is Power World fun? Hell yeah, it is. It's fun. My friends actually started up a server, of which I do plan on getting into. But at the same time, they also started playing a private server of Fantasy Star Online 1, and I do plan on looking at that too. There's just too many things happening.
There's a popular trend on the internet. Old-fashioned means setting a target, knowing exactly what you want to create, and creating that thing to the very best of your ability, regardless of what the rest of the world is doing. On a personal
Mm.
level, the reason I became a game developer is because I was inspired by Final Fantasy when I was young. I
Oh, Sakaguchi touched another one in a good way, spiritually, not physically. But Sakaguchi touched another person with his video games and the way that he made his video games. Like, again, I cannot emphasize this more. There's a game that he created called Fantasian. Wasn't the best idea to be exclusive to Apple, but now it's on Steam. I would suggest everybody play that game. The story is good. The turn-based strategy is different, and it's actually fun. I don't know. I have to talk about it. I don't know if his company is indie. If it is, then I would be allowed to talk about it on my other channel. But Fantasian, it's a good game. It's a good game, and I like the clever art style that the way they went with that.
wanted to make games like Final Fantasy because I wanted to inspire and share adventures with other people. I have developed and
Wait,
shipped
Tokyo
more than
Courts are
12
siding with
commercial
Pocket Pair?
titles, and I will continue to keep honing my craft and improving my abilities so I can create better art, better game concepts, better.
Make a turn-based game. Make a turn-based strategy game. Just make one, and you'll be fine. Trust me. Trust me. It doesn't even have to. It could be 2D. It could be 2.5D. It could be 2D sprites in a 3D world. Just, I would suggest doing that, man. I would.
So I
If
can
I were to
create
make
the
a,
best
if I were to make a
possible
video game, it would be
experiences
turn-based.
for people
My
to
first video
enjoy.
game would be turn-based.
My career includes serving as industry-level digital technology consultant, so now I will propose some potential avenues for creative exploration for Square Enix. I would strongly advise scaling back the budgets and scope of your projects. What
Yeah.
I would really like to see, not just as a
Yeah.
professional, but as a former fan of Final Fantasy, I strongly advise producing a new Final Fantasy and make it with 2D sprite artwork, 2D environments, and a turn-based menu-driven battle system, but do not do it like the pixel remasters or HD 2D remasters.
So what he's suggesting is that they go back to the basics, and I don't blame him for saying that. Um, I'll be honest with you. I think Square Enix has the capacity because they do have the talent. It's in there, but I think they have the capacity to make a fully 3D game, right? That is turn-based. That is and can be just as good as Expedition 33. They have the capacity to do so. I know they can do it. They just need someone who's creative, someone who is smart with marketing, and not listening to some Western consultant that says, oh, you need to have this in your game because. You know who I'm talking about. You know the people who I'm talking about. We don't like them, but they're here. They're within the industry, and they've been screwing with the gaming industry for, I'm going to say, close to maybe a decade at this point. And they really did screw it. They really did screw it. It's bad. it was a bad idea to have him in there. I don't know whose idea, but they were fucking clever. They really were. Whoever on their side was like, hey, let's get inside the gaming industry and spread the message. I don't know who was in there, but they were fucking clever. I don't like them for doing it. I don't think they got it. You don't think they got it? I still enjoy 95% of Rebirth. I did too. I did like Rebirth. I think what's really like going on with Final Fantasy VII and Rebirth and like that is that they're basically telling an alternative story. I'm okay with that. It's just the fact that Nomura does weird things within his video games. I mean, look at Kingdom Hearts. It's just look at it, man. But I see what he's trying to say here at the very least.
Follow the design philosophy of your PSP titles. Yes, the Sony PSP. For Final
Probably the superior versions of the remakes of the old games. Like he's showing it on screen right now.
Fantasy 1, 2, and 4. I mean, no offense to the pixel artists of Final Fantasy Pixel Remasters. I believe they did the best to their ability.
Yeah.
But the level of comprehension for color dynamic, tonality.
Ooh. So he's actually showing a really good point here. So this is the Pixel remaster. So you literally tried to high def the old NES style. You can't. I don't think you want to do that. And then look over here. This is the PSP, where the sprites definitely have a lot. There is a lot more on the sprites. There's a lot more definition and better design. Yeah, Nomura is probably the first person who ever made a remake and a sequel at the same time. Man.
And character posing is extremely weak in the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters. This level of bland, dull sprite work is not where the industry should be heading. It is not what we should be aiming for, especially when you look at the artwork of Final Fantasy games on the PSP. Look at the sprite work for that, and you can see the level of artistry and visual expression.
I don't know what they were trying to go for here. I'm going to be honest with you. I really don't know why. I guess, I mean, it's supposed to be a pixel remaster, right? Is it a pixel remake or pixel remaster? Because, like, when you look at this, so it's a remaster. Okay, so when you look at this, they are truly... I don't know if they went ahead and took remaster as a definitive key in terms of definition, but... like, how is it that Final Fantasy IV on the PSP looks way better 10 years ago? Like, he's bringing up a good point. Like, the way you don't have to go so retro that you're trying to copy the NES. You kind of want to push the pixels, at the very least, look real good. You know, people are making pixel art that looks amazing, and they did it before.
That we can achieve. We should be aiming for art like that. So I strongly advise creating a new Final Fantasy, something that plays like a real, proper Final Fantasy with the level of prestige writing that Final Fantasy is known for, but just make it look like the PSP games. It can be subtitled as a spin-off to avoid muddying the brand, which is already a huge...
They did that already, though. They didn't do a remake of Final Fantasy, but they did make a side game with with good art, good story writing, good graphics, at least in my opinion, and it was turn-based. It's called Bravely Default. Bravely Default 2 didn't get the best rap because of just like how hard it was. But like Bravely Default, that was it right there.
Huge problem. Final Fantasy has a very muddy and inconsistent identity right now, which is the exact opposite of Dragon Quest, which has a very strong identity, and they always let players know what they are getting into. If you play a Dragon Quest game, you know exactly what you are going to get. As a longtime Final Fantasy fan and now former Final Fantasy fan, when I see the name Final Fantasy, I feel a negative reaction, and I immediately think, great, what are they doing now? A new 2D Final
Damn.
Fantasy as a core game would show longtime fans that you are willing to listen, that you respect them, and that you will give them the experiences that they want. I personally feel as a fan that over the past decade or so, Square Enix has been quite
Fuck.
resentful of me because I enjoyed the older games and they no longer want to make games that are similar to the older Final Fantasies. And I personally feel like Square Enix is resentful towards me. And the reason I feel that is because the developers of Final Fantasy, the people that are leading it, have openly stated that. They have openly stated resentment towards people who enjoyed the older Final Fantasies, and we can see that attitude presented in the Final Fantasy.
Did they? Did they say that? Like, did they genuinely go out in some sort of social media and say we don't like those kinds of fans anymore? Like, you could say you feel their resentment in the way that they are creating their games. Yeah, you could say that for sure. And you could feel it that way. But like, did they say that? Like, I will take that like as a critical point here. Those games are pretty hard. Yeah, those games are hard. I'm not gonna lie. Bravely Default is hard, but like, I think Bravely Default was meant for the fan of RPGs. To be fair. There we go. There we go. There we go. I have 0 slots remaining. Everything is gone.
7 remake. I would strongly recommend
Remake
a
should-
2D Final Fantasy, as this kind of
Excuse me.
project would have a much shorter development time and a significantly lower development budget, meaning it is much more likely you will have a strong return.
He pulls up a good point with the whole budget thing. Wow, okay. I'm sorry. The AAA industry really bloats the budget for their games. Like, they really bloat the budget. I don't know why they think throwing like absolute $200 million plus into a video game is going to guarantee them something. When smaller groups and smaller studios, like, if there is a big game company that has proven that, yeah, you can have a small team and have like a successful game, it's probably Nintendo. And as much as we dislike Nintendo right now, they still know how to make a video game. So you want Square Enix to pivot to AA games? I would say that's probably the best point right there. AA games are quite literally, they have like a better percentage of success than AAA games right now. I think it's a coin flip for AAA games. Like, it's like 50-50. And I don't want to be that guy neither to say like, oh yeah, well, AAA games are all bad. No, I'm not going to say that. There are good AAA games. It's just that it's culture. It's like trends. It's like what AAA games and the deals that they make with the with shareholders. It's a whole big lot of factors going on. 12. Let me see. I might have enough for folklore. 2 more folklore. I'm gonna try and get this. So this one. Yep, that's what I thought. I didn't have enough for all the folklore. Ugh. Boo.
On investment. I would advise employing the absolute very best artists for environment and pixel artwork and make use of higher resolutions of modern hardware and the very best art software we have available today for creating the art. Make sure you have the very best writers who have a strong sense of fantasy and fun, who can write an adventure for your characters, and give the players a fun adventure to embark upon. The recent Final Fantasies have not felt fun. They have not felt like this great grand adventure. They have felt quite serious, trying to be cool, and trying to style match something like Game of Thrones. In order to do this, you need to step away from modern media, step away from social media, spend time exploring and examining the media and history of the 1990s, because that is the golden age which birthed the very best Final Fantasy games. Games that have fun, adventure, and fantasy. Secondly, and very
Well, it's not like we didn't have adventure and fantasy plus the serious tones, not without, because Final Fantasy 1 was very basic, right, in terms of its story. Final Fantasy 2 was pretty dark, had its fun moments, but it was a rebellion and war, and you actually lost major characters in that. Final Fantasy 3 was going back to basics, I believe. Final Fantasy 4 was a serious story. Final Fantasy 5 wasn't so serious, I could say that for sure, because that whole entire adventure, I mean, they still mixed the seriousness with the silliness in that one too. And then there's like Final Fantasy 6, which probably had one of the most serious stories, in my opinion. You're down with 16's premise. They didn't do that in the end in favor of some generic sci-fi kind of story. I was okay with 16 story. I really was. I really was. But I would like them to fall back on the whole, all right, so heroic sacrifice, everyone's dead again. The main characters die in the end. Everybody else lives around them. And, oh, we get to see their supposed reincarnation in the future. But it's up to you to believe it that way. And it's like, can't we just have them live in the end? Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm kind of done with heroic sacrifices. I've been done for a long time with the main character dies in the end. I know a lot of people say that's brave and bold, but it's old and it's kind of sad. Like, it really is. Their heroic sacrifice. I mean, I get it, but it's like, I'm done, dude. I'd like to see an ending where the actual main fucking character has, like, you know, little Jimmy, maybe, you know, a dog named Charlie, maybe a cat named Fritz, and, you know, marry the woman of their dreams. Kind of like the ending of Final Fantasy IV, where Cecil, even though he had to say goodbye to his brother, but, like, at the end, he got a family. He married the woman of his dreams. He was able to win back his best friend. It was a dark story. There was some silliness in there. I mean, the twins turned to stone, right? They petrified themselves to stop a wall from squishing the party. And Spoony Bard. I'm just saying, I'm kind of done with the ending where the main character dies and everybody else dies and all that stuff. I really am. It's been played out. I'd like to see an actual good story nowadays. We already have enough shit in the real world. I would love to see like a happier ending. I'm just tired of the ambiguous endings. I really am. Just tell me a straight up ending. Like, I will say this. My favorite ending is still going to be Final Fantasy. Like, my favorite endings are Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9, funny enough. You don't have any ambiguity in them. 7 is like, well, okay, the ending for 7 was, okay, a meteor's coming and the live stream comes out and saves everybody. Then we get Advent Children, which shows that they all lived, because it's a movie after the game. But even still, you already knew the world was alive because Red 13 in the future was running towards like a grown over Midgard. Final Fantasy VIII, the ending was kind of generic, but it was a lover's ending between Squall and Reno, and I liked that because it established like Squall was something more than his perpetrated, like, you know, lone wolf self. You know, I did like the dual story between Laguna and Squall and his party. It was good. Final Fantasy IX had established ending. Zidane came back. He was just like, I want my dagger back. And he snuck into the play, and it was a very loving ending. They did that on purpose. I like that ending. It's one of my favorites. Final Fantasy X. It's a good ending. It was alright. It was alright. They had like the extra ending where Titus does come back. Is it Titus for you guys or Titus? Do you guys like Titus or Titus? I'm gonna be American and say Titus because that sounds better. But Titus, he comes out of the water and he looks at the island, and he like looks at the island. And I don't know if Yuta is there waiting for him on the island, but the ending is supposed to establish that they brought him back. And it's like, how did he come back? Well, it doesn't matter because it was a happier ending than him just, which was also a good ending, by the way. It would have been fair for 10 if they just left Titus as like a dream that dissipated or something like that. Like, we got to know the truth of what he actually was. And then in the ending, he like really, he consoles with his dad. And then he jumps off the ship in the end. You see Orin, pass by Orin, the goat. And then there's Jack, and he just slaps hands with him and like reconcile with his own father. It was, it was great, But, 12 was very, 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 very boring. Sorry. 12 was such a boring. Fun fact, I beat Final Fantasy 12. I fell asleep at the controls, and I accidentally fell asleep for like, I don't know, 30 minutes because the fight was stupidly long. I woke up and I was watching the credits. I beat the game purely off the gambits of Final Fantasy 12. Yeah, that's a story for you. You beat the game without even doing anything. Yep. I fell asleep. Fell asleep. It's always Titus because I hate how it sounds the other way. Titus. Titus.
Importantly, stop attempting to appease armchair activists who scream loudly in their toxic echo chambers on the internet. Those people do not buy your video games, and if you attempt to appease them, you are no longer creating a product as a good, positive experience. You are creating something for social media engagement. Third, stop wasting time and resources chasing the latest money-making schemes. Low-quality mobile games with monetization, cryptocurrency, NFT, all of those things have dragged Square Enix and Final Fantasy down from being a prestige brand into somewhat of a joke for gamers. I no longer feel excitement when I hear the brand of Square Enix. I no longer feel excitement when I hear Final Fantasy. And it is largely because of these business practices that seem very desperate to squeeze people for money. The next full mainline Final Fantasy, which undoubtedly will have big, fancy 3D graphics, should not be chasing modern trends. It should not be trying to be a dark, gritty Game of Thrones ripoff. Re-examine.
Okay, to be fair, Final Fantasy 16 is not everyone's cup of tea. I could completely and utterly concede to that. I didn't love Final Fantasy 16's narrative. I thought it was good, but it was a lot. It was a lot of a. You know what? I'm gonna say this. I think it was good. I think the narrative for 16 was good. I just think that for something like that, the expansion of the story, and they emphasized on certain characters, but like, it would have been great if you got to play as other characters, if it was more traditional in gameplay style. The story would have changed a little bit, obviously. But I think the narrative for 16 was fine. I think it was fine. It was dark, but I thought it was fine. I would have liked to see how he was treated during the time he was basically captured and enslaved, the main character. I would have loved to know what his little brother was doing. Spoilers, sorry. Was doing all that time when they thought he was dead, and how he was rescued and all that stuff. Like, showed it, not just like explain it. I would have loved to see, like, gameplay wise, I would have loved to see more characters being emphasized, and they did. But like, at the end of the day, everybody still sacrificed themselves. Everybody still like, oh, the main hero sacrificed themselves, and everybody the heroic sacrifice. I'm just tired of that one.
What the core identity of Final Fantasy is. Scale back the scope and budget of your large 3D games and just produce something that is fun and that is fantasy. The current leadership of Final Fantasy is not capable of doing that. They are not capable of taking Final Fantasy in a good direction.
Who is the current leadership right now? Wouldn't it be Yoshi P? Like the current leadership of Final Fantasy right now, I think, is Yoshi P because he was the director for 16. And they chose him as the director is because he basically saved Final Fantasy 14. He basically saved the entire company of Square Enix as a whole. So it's like, of course they're going to put him on it. He made a good game. It just wasn't a great Final Fantasy game. It was a good action game, honestly. You stick another name on it, you could not even tell if it was a Final Fantasy game.
As a former Final Fantasy fan, if I personally saw a full-scale 2D game that looked like Final Fantasy 4, 5, or 6 on the PSP, but with high-resolution, beautiful 2D artwork, if I saw that, I would buy it immediately, and I would immediately feel, oh, I'm a Final Fantasy fan again. I will
There is a there's a caveat and probably a problem. And not saying that I wouldn't join you on that, by the way. I would join him in buying those games, but I'm an old fuck, right? So I'm old. So I'm going to love those games. But the problem is, will all the old fans from back in the day come back to play those games? You don't know because a lot of people have grown out of video games as they grow up. So you tend to target the next generation. Will the next generation like those games? Well, the question you should be asking is, what are the metrics for Expedition 33? Who were their target audience? Who are they trying to attract? What did they do to attract those people? You're a billion-dollar company, you could probably do better. Like, the question is, how do you capture those people who are targeted? What do you do? Right? Like, I would join him on that escapade. Like, if they came out with a 2D Final Fantasy, right? Side, and it could be mainline, it could be side, it wouldn't matter. I'd buy it because I have more confidence. I have more confidence in their ability to make an actual 2D game rather than a 3D game at this point. And it's a shame that it's come down to that point. Didn't he step down from leadership role on the board to focus only on Final Fantasy 14? He did, yes. But that still lies in the question. Then who's the leadership of the mainline Final Fantasy game? Because if it's Nomura again, we're gonna have an issue. Because Nomura is like an eccentric artist trying to take over a project. He's already done that for Final Fantasy VII. You see what I'm saying? Like we've got to ask these questions. Like who's the current leader right now? Because I don't think we know who the current leader of Final Fantasy, the mainline Final Fantasy, is. I think they still need to choose who it is, and I'm willing to bet that it's going to be a new guy. Is only for 14, so it's kind of scary to think who's going to take care of the rest. Well, I think it's a good idea for Yoshi P to focus on 14, because 14 is the main pillar of Square Enix right now. And when he was doing both 14 and 16, you saw what happened. Endwalker's in-game sucked. Like, it was just bad. And now that he's come back, he's steadily just getting back in the reins, because we know that Dawn Trail wasn't all him and his decision, it was also other people's decision as to why Dawn Trail is the way that it is. So, I don't know. I don't know if we have a current leadership in the mainline Final Fantasy games. They're probably going to need to find someone for that. I just know for sure that Square Enix is not in the right direction, I think, for their game creating, their designing, and all that other stuff. They have consultants, right, quote unquote, these consultants that have been steering them in the wrong direction. And it took only one. I mean, I only need one example, right? I could say Dawn Trail. I'm pretty sure in Dawn Trail these consultants were there, but Forspoken is the perfect example for that consulting, whatever the fuck. It was bad. It was just bad. And they thought by following these consultants and making the game that the way that it was, that they were going to succeed in making a great game, because they pushed Forspoken and it just, nobody wanted it. Nobody liked the character. The world was huge and explorable for sure, but they had to stick with the character that they did not like. The gameplay was all right, but it didn't save the overall game that was Forspoken. So it's just, it's bad if the producer falls asleep in a dungeon. I mean, for sure, yeah, but like, I'm saying that's an overall 14 thing. That's not just a Dawn Trails thing. That was an overall 14 thing. Like, we're looking at the bigger, like, the overall picture here. Yoshi P was stressed the fuck out. I'm pretty sure he was stressed the fuck out. Like, I know for sure that him working on both 14 and 16 made him older by like 10 more years. I'm pretty sure.
Return to Final Fantasy.
Oh my goodness.
If I see a 2D game that looks like the PSP Final Fantasy 4, 5, or 6, if I see a new, full, real Final Fantasy game like that, I would return to Final Fantasy. Those are just my thoughts on the state of Square Enix.
Now, okay, and we're at the end here. I'm pretty sure he's just going to say, like, that's my thoughts on all this. Sungrad Studio, the YouTuber that we're watching right now, had a weird moment somewhere, maybe like earlier this year, earlier 2025. I think he had like a really weird moment, or maybe it was in the summer. I think it was in the summer, where he was trying to get rid of the people who subscribe to his channel for some reason, and he wanted to like start fresh with those who are faithful to his channel. It was a very weird moment. Then he backtracks, and then he goes back to these kinds of videos again, because he says he doesn't like making these kinds of videos. He doesn't like being negative. But the thing is, he was giving his opinion in the state of video games as a person who makes video games, and we all liked it for that. And what he wanted to focus on was game design and his music, which is fine. We thought that was fine, right? But people like to hear other people's opinions. We're deep in the remake era for Final Fantasy now. There's no way Square is going to risk another mainline failure anytime soon. Once the 7th remake is over, they'll move on to remaking others for sure. They can't really reproduce what they did with 7, with 8 or 9 or even 10. They can't, because 7 was and still is their biggest video game ever for Square Enix. Period. It was the first 3D Final Fantasy. It was one of the flagship PlayStation games. It was so popular that it like literally broke records, and it broke people's minds. Like, people were crying at like when the Aerith moment with her death. People were crying at pixels and blocks. The story was well crafted without any voice acting. The story was so well made. You can't recreate Final Fantasy VII and the success that is Final Fantasy VII. That's just never going to happen. They can't do that with any other Final Fantasy game. It's just, impossible at this point. So what they really need to do is probably go back to basics, see what actually worked in the past for them, what games worked in the past for them, and then work on those. And I could tell you right now, what games are working right now are the games like Dragon Quest, games like Octopath, games like frickin', oh, I got another one. Games like Bravely Default. Like, I'm going to say this right now, Square Enix needs to take a step back look at what actually worked, what could make them succeed in the future, and unfortunately, they're probably going to have to downscale, or instead of downscaling, well, it's hard because when you downscale, you lose people, and that means laying off people, and I don't want that. I think what they should do is probably pair people in groups, smaller focus groups, right? Kind of like what Nintendo does. And the games that are shepherded from these smaller groups are specifically focused. The budget is more focused. The marketing is more focused, and they're not taking consulting advice from people who literally just want to insert their ideals and their beliefs into some narrative or a game because they're telling these Japanese people in their ears saying like, "Oh yeah, all Western people are going to love this." Right, right. And they have an example now. Forspoken. So like they look at Forspoken, oh fuck, it didn't work that time. How do we make it work in the future? How do we do that? And it's like, well, it's definitely not going to be the same way with that they made Forspoken. That's what it is. What is Square going to do? Even though a heavy ringer Yoshida couldn't get butts and seats with 16 because the other IPs you mentioned just don't get Final Fantasy numbers. I think lowering scope the way. I think lowering scope is the way. You're not wrong. You're not wrong with lowering the scope. What can they do? They have. Well, I think, and I'm no businessman, but I do recognize patterns. I think they need to start smaller. They need to go back. Like I said, they need to go back to the basics. They need to take a look at a smaller scope before they start going big again. Final Fantasy. If you're going to make another Final Fantasy game, you gotta figure out what worked. Don't look at just the sales metrics. You gotta see what people are saying. So, like, if people were so excited with Final Fantasy 13, it's because people wanted that mainline Final Fantasy game because of the name only. Did it work out entirely? No, because you had to make a Final Fantasy 13 2 and a Final Fantasy 13 3. You had to make those games to make up for 13, which is not something you should probably want to do. They were milking the cow for what it was, let's be honest. You want to look at that and say, well, what worked with 13? The second one, apparently. The second one, apparently, after they fixed what was going on in the first one. But overall, 13 was not the Final Fantasy VII that they were looking for. We need a proper Dissidia game to start. No more of that mobile BS. Uh, they need to step away from the mobile shit. They need to step. Square Enix should probably shut down their mobile division. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. If they're going to stay with mobile, then you might as well just remake the classic games for mobile. You know, make it $5-10 so people can play that on the go. And I think they have. I don't know if they have or not, but I think the mobile division should be at the very least not so focused on because they really try so hard with the fucking with the fucking mobile games. Like, I was in the beta for their Dissidia game. It was I could say so much more, but sticking with the conversation that we have, they gotta go back. They gotta start with the basics. They gotta figure out what actually worked, not the numbers that worked in terms of monetary value, but what actually fucking worked. They need a focus group that actually focuses on that rather than the metrics of how much they got in terms of revenue and trying to see like if they can capture that same kind of revenue again instead of trying to go for another live service or a mobile game. How about you start with something that you know that's only going to get a small amount of money in the beginning. Like maybe you're probably looking for maybe 2 million, 3 million copies of something being sold, and then work your way up. You have IP that you can work with. You can make smaller groups for the said IP. You can time out the schedule when those games come out. I would say give them like each a month or 2 month gap, you know, when they release. Dragon Quest could come out first because Dragon Quest seems to be doing just fine. If you're going to make Final Fantasy, make that the apex of the year, you know? But listen to me acting like I'm some sort of businessman here. Maybe loosen the reins and give another studio the IP because they can't be trusted anymore, and I feel another studio would do it justice. I think they could probably give it to the studio. They could probably go up to Sandfall Studios, the people who made Expedition 33, and told them make a Final Fantasy game, and watch they make an actual good Final Fantasy game. Like, Sandfall, make a Final Fantasy game. Oh yeah, okay. Freaking 3 years later, they come out with another game of the freaking year. It's gonna be a Final Fantasy game that's turn-based, and they're gonna be like, okay, so we want to buy your company, which Sandfall shouldn't let them. Stay indie, stay contracted. Y'all be great. Imagine Sandfall Studio was allowed. Yeah, you know. Also, this loser Cherry hates him. Burn through him into the ocean and make him swim back to the shore. What are you talking about? Hates this loser Cherry hates. What are you talking about? Are you talking about Yoshi P? Or what? What are you mean Nomura? Like, holy crap, who you hating? Who you hating? Talking about the person in this video. You're talking about yeah. The Sun Grand Studio guy. He actually, right? There was some weird, like I said before, he had some weird things going on earlier this year, and I actually unsubscribed from his channel because of that, because it was so weird. It was some controversy. He had an interview with the dude Smash JT. He was trying to explain himself, but JT was just like, dude, you're not making any sense, right? You're literally looking at you thinking your audience is a bunch of, like, you're making them hate you. Like, what are you doing? Like, you had something going on that was great. What the fuck are you thinking you're doing? Excuse me. And you know what? He backtracked. Not in a way of like an apology, but he just started making content people liked. So, like, and I'll give you an example. Like, here's his channel now. Smart game design. Now I like Dragon Quest. Real Talk 2025. Nino Cooney. Dragon Quest again. Not what I expected from Final Fantasy IX. Like, he started making those videos again. Basically, he reared back his without even saying anything, he reared back what he actually meant. It's weird though. Like, it does kind of make him a hypocrite. Like, it does. It really does. Honestly, Square should just buy Sandfall. I don't want Sandfall to be bought. Really, I don't want Sandfall to be bought. I don't trust Square Enix to buy Sandfall and for everything to be okay. Don't trust him with anything. Cherry doesn't trust him with anything. You know, I'm kind of curious what he says about Final Fantasy IX.
It's good to see you. I'm glad games only released in Japan. Did redo this game entirely in Unity. It seems like they faithfully recreated the
what's going on? Hey, what's up, Yui?
Text box as the characters speak. We have a transparent accuracy because you can have decimal.
Oh, so he's just playing the entire beginning of the game.
Hello.
He's just playing the entire beginning of the game. Final Fantasy IX is my favorite Final Fantasy. I'm thinking his is 7. So, Real Talk. This is the story of the greatest New Year's Eve ever, which, like, his views went down by a lot because of what he did last year. Like, he used to see, like, everything went kaput when he did his thing. Where was it? Like, there was a point where he was getting views out the wazoo. I think that was a long, long time ago. But because of just like how he expressed his actual feelings towards the people who were in his, like, he didn't like the negative comments that were coming into his comments. He didn't like that because he was like, why do I attract these kinds of people? And it's just like, that's not your fault, bro. Like, that's not your fault. I don't know why you are thinking this way, man. Okay, I lost an opportunity there. I'm only gonna get 4 here. Could they even remake 9 because the style is so unique? Yeah, of course they can. You can remake anything. You just have to be smart with it. The thing is that the question is will they be smart with it? And the answer might be no. Unfortunately. Throw him into the dumpster? I think this video kind of redeemed him a little bit with this, where he just sits there with the suit, says, "Y'all done stupid, fix it," and then, that's all he really has to say. I like these that's what really got him on the map in the first place, was these kinds of videos. He also needs to change this. I can't see Sungrand anywhere. So I don't know. But if you guys want me to watch any kind of other video, any other video that you might be interested in, yeah, y'all have the Discord. Y'all know where Wandering is. Y'all can do that. We'll have day 1 mods. I don't really see any other like Final Fantasy based videos right now. Need to go to Yuktal. Mamook. Yours is 4 and 5. They remade 7. Well, they remade 7, but it's not. It's receiving a lot of mixed things. They remade 7, but they can't. They're. Oh yeah. You know what? They could remake Chrono Trigger, if they were smart enough to do it. They could remake Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross, give Chrono Trigger an actual sequel. What's Wandering again? You'll find it. You got Legend Rank. Oh yeah, I did see that. You got Legend Rank. I honestly, if I were to invest more time in Sonic Cross Racing, I could more likely get it. You gonna play Hytale? Yes, I am gonna play Hytale actually, but that's gonna probably be exclusively on my indie channel. What stuff did we not look at? Let me look. I'm gonna go to Wandering right now. Also, congrats on all that other stuff. Good job. Good job. Good job, sir. Good job in all this. And that was after I had to deal with this shit here. Oh, that makes sense, actually. Damn, these people just play forever. These people play forever. We did see this. I think, Stop Feeling. Yeah, we did see that the other day. I think we saw that. There's no fucking way. What is that? I don't know if I'm going to play that one. Yeah. There's a part 1 and a part 2 on that. I don't know how long those videos are. If they're like too long. The new Final Fantasy VII literally deviates from the original story. It's like a story that is trying hard to deviate from the original really, really hard, and it wants to really, really hard. That's how I feel about it. It's like it really wants to just not be part of that. All right, we could watch a Hytale video. Let's see what's going on.
Hytale has just revealed their new world generation tech with over 5 minutes of footage, lots and lots of images of the terrain that we will soon be able to access, plus even more surprises in the form of giant whales. We can now also confirm there will be day
Excuse me?
surprises in the form
Whoa, that is a giant whale. Holy crap.
of giant whales. We can now also confirm there will be day 1 mods for Hytale via CurseForge, so let's get into that real quick. You heard me right, a select few people are already in game making mods to release to players to be entertained at launch.
Really?
This includes several quality of life improvements, asset packs, and different additions that have been created pre-launch by a number of talented modders. The main page that they link to in the post shows a seedling riding a unicorn as they exclaim, "Hytale modding is here and will be supported on CurseForge." From server plugins and gameplay mechanics to down
They ruined Red 13 and Dying for me. I can't really say for sure how I feel as though that they've like really kept. I think they've kept for the most part the characters for Final Fantasy VII. I think so, but I think that's just my opinion. I'm not really too like put back with even Dying, but like Red 13 seems fine to me. Although I don't know, there is a little bit more seriousness in the remakes and Rebirth rather than in than how I would feel about it, you know? But okay.
downloadable art assets, and eventually whole worlds and prefabs. We see an archer with a golden bow and arrow, plus a green alien dog here. These are likely assets modders have already worked on. They then provide a bit of a roadmap with things to come, saying that they aim to work on everything from the modding API to better world gen and visual scripting. Definitely worth a read if you plan to make mods, that's for sure. Hytale mods are going to be PC only to begin with. You can download them from the CurseForge website or application. They say that you'll be able to make new creatures and characters, custom tools and items, new minigames and quests.
You watch
as
any
well
of
as
the
unique
Sebi
world
Web's
generation
content?
features,
I
among other
don't
things.
think so,
They
no.
also confirm in this Q&A at the bottom.
I have not. Also, Cherry, what are you saying? The game needs to be fixed because the lag is horrible and the crashing also. Which game are you talking about? You talking about 7 or which game are you talking about? Also, I think, yeah, I do have technically 3 more folklore left. Games with proximity voice are stupidly fun for some reason. I actually like to play games more in them. Those are, I mean, and nothing against anybody who's into those kinds of games. Those are usually designated as like friend slop games. Like slop in a way that it's being just produced on a massive base, but they are fun. Repo is fun. Peak is fun. Fall Guys used to be fun, but that's like a one-time thing.
Bottom here that servers will also be able to monetize. So it's a very exciting world for Hytale modding, and we're already kickstarting it.
Wait, what do you mean? The game needs to be fixed because the lag is horrible and the crashing also. Hytale didn't come out yet, did it? The game you were watching on the video? The game didn't come out yet, did it? I can't really say that the game comes out on, like, what, the 12th? I don't... The 13th, maybe? I don't know how you're knowing these things with the game that's not out yet. At least I don't think the game is out yet. Yeah, the game's not out yet.
Day 1, it seems. I'll definitely be making some classic mod review style videos on a bunch of those. In fact, I've already got an interview lined up. Then, with only a week until Hytale releases, we just got the big blog post that we've all been waiting for, where world generation engineer Dan and designer Amber go over how our worlds will eventually look and how we can customize our
look at that!
worlds with
They're using the new style of game design in terms of scripting. I know of this. I'm trying to learn this myself. So, okay, if that's like the background of what you can do in terms of coding for Hytale, I think it's going to be a lot easier for people to mod the game, which is good.
this new tech from the get-go. They say, quote, "We have 2 world generators in Hytale. Version 1, which was developed from 2016 to 2020,
Starts
which
in the
produced
13?
playable
Okay,
results
cool.
in exploration mode, but they ended up hitting barriers when trying to add more zones and complex biomes. World Gen V2 has been in development since 2021 to address these barriers, and this version 2, will completely replace V1
So V1 and V2?
once the team is ready. For launch as of January 13th, we will spawn
There it
in
is.
worlds that have V1 generation, but once completed, V2 is going to become the primary world generator as you enter the new world of Orbis. They say that version 1 will eventually stop generating chunks, but your old V1 worlds will still be accessible. The first clip that
Oh, so V1... Excuse me, V1 is going to eventually... It's very limited, is what they're saying. So V1 is incredibly limited, while V2 is probably going to be, like, a little bit more traditional. Like, traditional in a way that it's, more Minecraft-like. Like, I'm looking forward to Hytale. I really am. But you gotta remember, Hytale was part of Riot. Riot gave up on it. They said, fuck this game. We're shutting it down. We're shutting the project down. Simon, one of the co-founders who started up Hytale, was just like, oh shit, can't let that happen. Came back, was like, hey, look, I'm going to buy this up. Don't know how much he bought it for, but he got the rights for it. He got everything. He got all the data. He got the core engine and all the assets. So now it's Simon owns the game. So, and people were excited for that. People were freaking excited for Hytale coming out because I think people are just like wanting to play the next Minecraft. And if this turns into it's not going to be Minecraft. It's being compared to Minecraft. It's just not going to be Minecraft. We can't look at this game and say, "Oh, look, it's Minecraft." We can only say like, "Oh, look, it's kind of like Minecraft, but it's like its own thing, you know?" We got to remember that this is not Minecraft. We got to remember that.
they show starts off as we pan across a large canyon area in a taiga biome. We're in a campsite, as we can see, with some food spread on the table and a sleeping bag on the floor. We can see the foliage as well swaying on the ground here, not actually at a set speed. There seems to be some variation, which really gives it this vibe of simulated wind.
Oh, he's trying to do like a sound background thing. I have no idea what he's trying to do.
The player here seems to have a walking mode toggled on as he approaches a river with a log crossing. We'll actually talk a little bit more about this later.
So does that generate by itself?
The camera then switches to third person and starts to float up. We see an owl flying around in the air and a huge river canyon with trees growing up the sides of the rock face. I love the vibe and the atmosphere of this clip, the way it showcases the cinema tools, the lighting, even the particle effects like the fireflies or like the little blue butterfly things that we see. I think I've watched this clip on repeat like 5 or 6 times now. Genuinely, it's just so cool to see how smooth everything is. The camera flowing, it just gets me so.
I wonder specifically for the issues of this game, like you specifically said something about lag, right? Now, will it be fine when it comes out? I don't know. I don't know. But they did say it was going to have issues. There's going to be glitches when it does come out because it's early access. So you're basically paying for early access again, but I think they're going to try to go the route of Minecraft. Minecraft was not the best when that game came out. Not the best, but over time it became the #1 game in the world. So maybe they're trying to go that route.
Excited to make things in-game. They then show what is called a deep root biome in the plains region of Zone 1. This is where ash trees with dark leaves and large roots, which we can see in the image there, spawn specifically above cave entrances, allowing you as a player to more easily find them. They say this is just one instance of environmental patterns in the world gen that you can learn about as you play. For example, here they show that a log bridge spawning across a river by systems detecting 2 shores that are near one another is possible. And for more granular detail, we actually see a yellow mushroom and some sticks spawn on the ground around the base of some cedar trees. Glowing mushrooms here that only appear in sheltered areas, as well as large areas like this meadow of flowers, which apparently spawns
Okay, I'll be
when
right
there's
back.
a natural dip surrounded by trees.
All right, sorry about that. Ugh. Ha ha ha. Do trees do the same thing in Hytale as they do in Minecraft when harvesting them in a block? Actually, they have the. I think they have the tree fellers, where it evaporates from the base where you cut it. I think. I don't know if he's going to show it.
When it comes to version 2 of the world gen that will eventually be in place, it does come with APIs so that the programmers can use it easily with the node editor to integrate their own creations. You can essentially mix and match mods and features, with modders being able to tweak and customize existing world gen, such as with the base world of Orbis, or they can create entirely new ones. The team say, quote, anyone can create content and modify world gen without knowing how to code, as V2 can be edited directly in our node editor. Creators can get started with just a few tutorials and a bit of time to practice. Creators can build advanced procedural content by configuring and linking simple nodes. When editing world gen, the world live reloads in-game to reflect the changes made within the editor. This is all to make creating advanced biomes easier and faster, bridging the gap between developers and creators. If that was too technical sounding for you, we do get over 2 minutes of video showing the player actually using the visual node editor to change how this Zone 1 biome is being generated live. We see them changing materials, the actual generation height of the land, and a bunch of other things that I'm sure people can explain in the comments. Creators can actually control each biome's terrain shape independently and with high precision, the team say. For example, when two biomes appear next to each other with two different types of terrain, they actually blend seamlessly together. You can also customize the terrain as it approaches the edge of a biome to ensure that those transitions are considered more. Here, for example, we see that with cliffs, adding naturally rocky surfaces around the edge of the biome using the node editor once again. The team continues in the blog post saying that creators can also fully control which materials the terrain is made of by assembling material provider nodes. Material providers function as logic nodes with configurable rules and terrain context such as block depth below ground or the amount of empty space above ground. The next video actually shows an example of this, again if you didn't quite understand. At first we see grass on all of these dirt blocks, but then the grass material is restricted so that it doesn't spawn anywhere where there is less than 10 blocks of air above it. This allows for the under areas of these higher up places to actually have dirt rather than grass, which makes it look more realistic. Next, we get an example of using something called props. They say that with these, you can actually generate localized content such as points of interest, specific vegetation, even decorations and place rules for how they're all distributed around the world. In the example, they show the player increasing the size of the forest patches in the biome below by editing the tree location mask. Overall, this means adding new biomes or content such as prefabs should be straightforward, as they're giving us all the tools that they used to create whatever we want. Additionally, the team say every single biome that we use in Orbis will be shared with the community. You'll be able to use the node editor to view, modify, and have fun with all of the content we made and mix it with your own creations. They then go on to provide some more images. These are, quote, experimental feature pack examples and do not reflect the content that will be in adventure mode. They say, as a reminder, we will be launching with World Gen V1 and exploration mode, so this actually seems to suggest that by the time we switch to World Gen V2, we'll also
you gotta ask the question, like, how many people are going to be switching their entire content over to Hytale? I like it's a lot of work in progress. It's a lot of early access stuff. It's a lot of things that's probably going to be glitchy. But right now, as a base, as a game, I think Hytale is offering a tad more and probably an easier to understand system, especially for those who wants to mod the game. I think they have a lot more going for it than like how Minecraft started, but then again, this is a game that's taking a lot from Minecraft, let's be honest. First season of One Piece finally ended, by the way. The first season has finally ended. What do you mean by the first season? Well, hold on. Okay, so you're saying that the technical first season of One Piece is the over 1,000 escapade of over 10 years. That's the first season. I don't see now. I know what you're talking about, but at the same time, it's like I'm still counting every season that they designate as a season in One Piece, and they just didn't take off the label or logo from that stuff. All I'm saying is there was multiple seasons in my view. If that was all just one first season, then I don't know. They're probably on a hiatus, right? They're on a hiatus right now because they have to make more and they're going to focus on the manga. It was the end of the first season. Oh, I will check that. I will check that like right now. Uh, One Piece first season end. Is that what it says? First major seasonal split ended with episode 1155, concluding the Egghead arc and marking a historical milestone in anime's long run, leading to planned hiatus before the Elbaf arc in April 2026, transitioning the series into a more traditional seasonal model. I see. I see. It's a major seasonal split. I see. I see. Oh, okay, so that's why they're calling it season 1. Jesus. That was one season, guys. It took 10 years.
Switching to adventure
It took
mode as
it took
well.
fucking
These
10 years
images
for them
next
to end the first
genuinely got
season.
me so excited. We see a floating island biome. Apparently, this is something called a terrain pack that aims to explore more chaotic and stacked terrain. It genuinely looks awesome and awe-inspiring. I'm just curious what we'll actually be able to get on launch and how quickly us as players will be able to create and release things like this. I mean, are we talking week 1, all of these different worlds being created? I mean, then we get my favorite image of this entire blog post. Actually, it comes with a clip as well. An expansive land of floating islands with a giant flying whale in the background. I mean, come on, talk about some Pandora vibes here. The video that we see of this actually shows movement with the leaves falling, fog moving across the screen, and the whale flying high in the background. Surely the biggest
The flying
in-game
whale
entity
kinda
that we've
scares
ever
me.
seen. Genuinely, this is getting me so excited. I mean, I know that it is technically not in the game.
Even
as
though,
in
like, I should never be scared of that because giant whales typically aren't dangerous. In like any video game, every time they come out with a whale, it's like it's the most passive mob ever.
official game, but man, what I would do to just like, I don't know, ride one of these or see like 10 of
You
them
probably
flying
could ride
overhead.
one of those,
That'd
man.
just be so insane. Another example then that they show is this complex underwater cave system, which includes coral and generated shipwrecks. It's cool to see the oceans are getting a little bit more
But
attention
really,
again. Obviously,
how many
so
people are going to switch over to this game? There's going to be so many people. There are going to be so many people who are going to switch over to this game. So many people are going to switch over. I want to see what content creators are going to actually do with all this.
much attention on them in the initial trailer, and so to see that there's a bit more love going into them now genuinely does get me stoked for like a Subnautica type experience one day in Hytale. Then they show us an example terrain pack here which explores an arched terrain theme apparently. We actually see some flying prehistoric creatures, funnily enough, which look really cool, again giving me some crazy otherworldly vibes. I also just love the scale of these arches and how the light casts down from the jungle trees atop them. Following this, we also do get another image of some floating island terrain. We then get this really bizarre and creepy video of a quote procedurally generated set of rings in an alien world, with spores again showcasing how we're able to make our own worlds like multiverses, which were actually a feature that they teased at in concept art years ago, but eventually ended up cutting. Now they're back on the table. You know, it's something akin to like Dimension X from Stranger Things. Of course, they are still in active development, so things may change as they complete core features over the coming months. They will avoid trying to replace systems entirely where possible as well, so that they can keep supporting players and creators long term, not just like pulling the rug from under them and changing everything. They confirm they will be publishing first-party tutorials, guides, and documents to help train the community alongside them as well. They say that short term, they're locked in on performance improvements, upgrading existing features, and making everything more modular and flexible. They did give us a little insight into their future roadmap though. They said that they have procedural rivers and paths that guide players and connect places more. They also want procedural architecture for generating dungeons, ruins, and more buildings. Again, we know that this has been on the table for a while that they want to achieve. Then they say they want to organically grow fauna to increase diversity and coherence, plus they want waterfalls and even more. Quote, in the meantime, enjoy some snapshots of our work in progress biomes aimed at a future adventure release. We then see a plains biome in the Emerald Wilds.
I can take my time getting the last folklore.
We then yet again see the tiger-focused river biome, confirmed to be in Zone 3 now, the Whisperfrost Frontier. And then another shot from the mountaintop of this exact same biome showing a horde of ice skeletons. In this image, according to the caption, we see a trunk is generated procedurally using terrain and something called a...
Wow. Can you imagine if that this is supposed to be a trunk? Can you imagine what the whole tree would look like?
Positions field. The image itself is labeled the Hedera, and it looks very atmospheric. Continuing this ominous, larger-than-life feeling as well, we get these standing stones that were generated apparently using, again, terrains and a positions field in the Whisperfrost Frontier. We swap over now to Zone 2, the Howling Sands, with a lush oasis that is one of the biomes we can find hidden in this normally deadly terrain. We can actually see a player using a walking stick here, which we've not seen in a while, but it could potentially be useful for preserving stamina as you travel. The next image shows another angle of a river going through Zone 2, specifically here highlighting that yellow trees only spawn around the water, another example of these terrain and generation patterns. Simon then gives a note at the bottom of the blog here. He says this new approach to world generation will redefine the block game genre. For the first time, artists and game designers can take full ownership of world generation with complete control over the final result. They announced that with this, they also plan to open up 15 new jobs for world designers on the team.
Oh,
with
wow.
pretty nice projected salaries, I might add, as
well.
well.
Wow. Oh, whoa. Can I have a job? Estimated starting salary is 8K to 100K a year? I need to learn how to be a game designer. Guys, I'll see you guys in 6 months. I'm just gonna focus on being a game designer. I want to learn to be a game designer. I'm gonna be hired in a semi-ND, maybe like a double A studio. Next time you see me, I'm gonna be making the next Final Fantasy. No, I would never go that far. Honestly, I probably would never want to work for Square Enix. I probably would never want to. But geezers.
as well. They continue, quote, Hytale's vision is to feel
Well,
carefully
Microsoft would pull a
handcrafted while
Nintendo and
remaining
try to patent
infinitely
Minecraft
procedural, with
mechanics
design
to try
always
and
serving
get this
gameplay
shut down
first.
if it
We
blows
are
blows
intentionally
up.
expansive.
Here's what I would say about that. If Microsoft isn't, I can't really say they're not stupid, but they're not totally without debt. Like, they know if they did or pulled some shenanigans like that, going the wrong way. If they pulled some shenanigans like that, they'll never get away with it. And that's only because there's too many Minecraft fans. Like, there are too many Minecraft fans. Yes, a lot of them are children, but a lot of them are also adults. And if they try to take general things like mining a block and saying that they're just going to patent that, I don't think so. I don't think they would actually ever do that. In fact, they'd probably try to make a deal with Hytale. I think they would try to make a deal. Maybe like they'll try to do like a cross event with Hytale if Hytale gets off the ground. But I have faith in Hytale only because, well, their story is kind of a miracle in the first place. Like, it really is. The game was about to be was shut down really from Riot. Riot was definitely going to throw this somewhere in the garbage. Simon, who used to work on the game, came back to buy the game back. And what do we have now? We have like a situation where there's a chance for this game's coming out in early access because that's a good strategy. You only need to pay $20 to get the game. If you want to support them, it's just an added $10 more and an added $10 more, and what you really get is like character skins, clothing, I guess, capes, right? So it's a good strategy and it's affordable. Now, the thing that they really need to do is get this on most other platforms. Apparently, the game will work on Linux, but they advise you to play on Windows. Honestly, I've been trying to find a way to migrate over to Linux for like a couple of years now. I really haven't tried to do that fully, but I've been trying to move over to Linux for a long time. But I mean, I'm just glad the game is coming out.
Beyond Orbis, we plan to explore alternate worlds, new dimensions, and entirely different spaces. These worlds give us room to introduce new blocks, items, prefabs, zones, regions, biomes, NPCs, quests, stories, and gameplay systems.
I want you guys to know that everything that they're saying right there, what he's saying right there, and what they're trying to do, this is all a blog post. This is more than Minecraft is doing currently. It's just more than what Minecraft is doing currently. Like, I have a feeling if they went the right path, this could be the actual spiritual successor to Minecraft. Could. It's heavily focused on more combat, I would say, in Hytale, but that might not be entirely true. I think they're the ones that are saying it, that it's more focused on combat rather than it being just a block game. And the reason why they're saying that is probably because they have so much respect for Minecraft. They're not trying to replace Minecraft at all, but the fact of the matter is that it probably is going to, if they do this well, if they do this as perfect as possible as they can, this game will replace Minecraft. And there are going to be so many people and content creators who are going to switch over to this game. I'm going to look at it. If it becomes something that I want to continue to do, maybe I can make it into a series. I don't know. If Block Game makes me like more famous and stuff, I would be like, oh, well, I guess Block Game content creator. Like, I don't have anything against Minecraft content creators, but there's only so many that I kind of invest my time in. I can only name a few, but one is a 2B2T content creator and another is a builder. There's plenty of builders that I watch. I don't really watch anything else other than like, you know, those kind of like building. And there's actually a few that do like 100 Days series, the 100 Days series, and Ish, who does the whole I put 1,000 players into a world, I want to see what the society comes down to, right? There's that too. Like, everybody's seen that one. But
Not every concept will ship, but together they represent the direction we're taking
we'll see
as
what
we
happens.
continue to expand the game.
There's so
The
much to
Echoes of
discover in this
Orbis
game.
and Orbis are just the beginning of a very amazing journey. Again, what a massive behemoth of a blog post. We got so much here, and the vibes I was getting from VC as everyone was reacting to it and hopping in, my friends were mentioning what they liked about it, everyone was getting excited. We are so close to Hytale. We're gonna play it all week long when it drops. Simon did in fact double down on this with a statement today, quote, "Friendly reminder, interest in Hytale is growing exponentially right now, and I feel like I need to remind people that we only got the game 7 weeks ago, and that we are launching an actual early access experience with all the issues that come with it. In the long run we will be fine, but the next few weeks will be chaos. The team is fantastic. I am beyond happy with how things are going. They will make Hytale the dream game we always wanted it to
Cherry,
be. I am 100% sure.
your worries are still going to be founded in this, but he's being kind of open with this. He's saying, interest in Hytale is growing. Everybody's like trying to get into it, but it's like early access. And you know what? I don't mind. I do not mind. I will still play block game.
Of it. However, please give us some time to launch, patch, and work towards that dream. I suggest you don't take a day off work on launch day. We will have launch day issues with the launcher, logins, downloads, and other areas that could go wrong. Rest assured though, once you have downloaded and logged in once,
he's
you
true.
can be offline
He being true,
without
he's being
issue.
honest.
We received far more pre-purchases than we ever expected, and we're doing our best to welcome everyone as soon as possible. So, a wise word of warning to not expect everything to be perfect on launch day. You bet though that I am still going to be streaming every second of it to make sure that we have the best day ever. This is going to be followed by a week of streaming, that is Hytale Week as I'm calling it, trying to keep it simple, nice and easy for everyone to understand. We'll be live from January 13th,
You know what?
then every day.
I have not made a video on Hytale as of yet, but maybe I can make one on the Indie Observer. And when I do look at Hytale for what it is, I mean, it's going to be because the game is so freaking new. It's going to have so many problems with it. Is Hytale not releasing on Steam for its early access? No. It's coming out on its own launcher. You have to go on their website. No. I don't. They're doing their own launcher kind of thing. Because I believe, I mean, they're like self-funded, right? And now people are pre-ordering. I pre-ordered, so I don't think they want to go on other places yet. They don't want to go onto other platforms yet. Steam would be the first place they should go, honestly. But I think they're just trying to kind of swift through the waters, feel things out with other people. How do they feel about the game first? It's going to come with issues, right? It's going to come with a lot of issues, and getting into the game is going to be like hell in a handbasket. I'm pretty sure this is going to be Pippin Savage all over again. Good times, right? Robonic Stream and Pippin Savage in block game. I think eventually Hytale is going to be on every platform. Eventually. But my suggestion right now, for those of you who are interested in Hytale, follow this channel, Quebec Corner, and Hytale News, and Hytale's official site. Their official channel.
Day playing the game, hopping on servers with other friends. I'll be dropping some classic mod review style videos, all as well as working on a number of big projects that I still want to announce, so make sure
Wait till
to
it's
stay
more
tuned.
stable?
Click the
No.
video on screen to watch more
They
Hytale.
are-
Use code Quebec if you haven't.
They are counting on people to, they're counting on people to wait. Because they know themselves that the game needs time. But the reason why they're putting out an early access now is because they want people to have a feel for it. They want people to feel the game so that they can get an understanding of what is to come, which is a brilliant idea, and it has been a thing for 2-3 decades now when it comes to video games. It's called demos. And You want people to get into these demos and talk about it, feel about it, give their opinions on it, whether it's good or bad. Especially if it's bad, because you want that just in case some shit comes down. You know, that's what it's going. That's what they want. That's what they want. You know, that's what they want. No, that's a good idea. No, that's a perfectly logical stance there. Wait till somebody actually comes out with something. See, look, more of that stuff. More and more. Truth about dating standards. Oh God, what Pokimane finds out her dating standards. Wait.
So I did see this too. So there's a website. Pokemon finds out her dating
Pokemon. Pokemon? Pokimane?
requirements.
Exclude married. Yeah, I don't want to date someone who's married. Wait, I just did it. Oops.
0.1%.
Oh.
Point.
All men in the United States meet your standards. 0.32.
3-2.
Wow. I actually thought it'd be better odds. Out of 164 million, only 500,000 meet my standards.
There's no way it's that high, okay, guys?
0.32%. What did I even ask for? Oh, then again, I guess if you're like, I would date someone of any age.
It's crazy to see whenever women have these expectations to see what the probability of actually having it happen. I want to look this up. Well, you can't select for bra size. How could I even do this? Can you even tell if she's fat? Exclude obese. Okay, all right, here we go. Age, okay, 22 to 35. Height, I don't give a shit. I guess 4'11", I guess. I don't know. How about 4'10"? And then 7 feet tall, if only, right? Minimum income, I don't give a shit. Ethnicity, I don't give a shit. Hair color, I don't care. Eye color, I don't care. Minimum education, I don't care. Religion, I don't really care either. Okay, smokes, no, does not smoke either. I don't really care if she drinks or not. Exclude married, exclude obese. Okay, all right, let's click it, see what it says. 4%. See, I'm not that crazy after all. Well, what about if they're fat? What happens if you change obese? It goes all the way up to 7 if you want to have the hogs?
Whoa!
Oh, wow. That's a lot of hogs. There's a lot more older women. Yeah, maybe you're right. Does it shock you? I guess so. I just wanted to look at it and see for myself. But it was disbelief that only 0.32% of men. Damn, 0.32%.
Wow.
That's bad.
I actually thought it'd be better odds. Out of 164 million, only 500,000 meet my standards.
You did not. There's no way.
0.32%. What did I even
Wow.
ask for?
There was literally 3% fat people. 3% of the I think I would get the same result, to be honest. I don't want to I do not want to date somebody who's like, you know, morbidly obese. I'm not morbidly obese, so I would not really mess with somebody who's morbidly obese. As of dating, friends, perfectly fine. Morbidly obese and dating, no. no. And I shoot, man. Somebody's gonna get me for that one. Somebody's gonna sit there and be like, "How dare you? How dare you not like the morbidly obese? How dare you?" I know somebody's gonna be mad at me. Somebody's probably mad at me in chat right now. Which one of you don't like me because I said I won't date morbidly obese people? Sweet capped on tomes for the rest of the week, aka for today. True. We get reset tomorrow morning. Yep. Understandable for dating. Understandable for dating. I mean, I'd rather date within the standards of which I have integrity and respect for myself. So, that's why that is. There isn't. Wait, Lois was blonde? Oh, that's the pilot. Oh, I was like, what the heck? I'm looking. Did you guys post any videos, by the way? No. Guys, post some videos. Oh, look, it's is this a stream? No, this is a video. Tetris. This guy's a god. He's a god. Jesus. How? How does anybody do this? His opponent's doing the same thing. And he messed up too. He set that up? Oh my goodness. I'm saying all this, but like I play Smash Brothers and people have no idea what I'm doing when I play. They're like, how are you doing that? I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm just doing regular things. And he won already. What the... Wumbo. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look how crazy this is. Wumbo, what the... Oh my gosh, he's actually about to lose. He's doing T-spins like the... He's doing crazy T-spins here. Oh, he's about to go. Oh, wait, hold on. He was able to fix it. He's doing T-spins. Again. Oh my god. Dating scene is a total disaster. Absolutely. You're not lying, brother. T-spins are a total disaster. Did I say T-spins? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I meant to say dating is a total disaster. Oh man. Can you T-spin into that? Oh, apparently you can. Oh, he's about to lose. Oh wait, he saved himself. He's saving himself. Oh, look at that. He's inching down. He made it to the bottom. But that doesn't... Oh, you got it. So you get rid of the black to do what? Oh. And he won. And he won. And he won. Can you imagine like a commentator having to commentate on like a Tetris league like this? Wombo pulling off another T-spin. What the heck? Did anybody hear like Pac-Man for a second there? I think Shalone is going to be the last one I do. And then we're going to see if we can get over 1,000. I can get my last folklore. We can call it a night. He's still dominating? Can this man lose? Damn, I don't know, man, but the announcer would be sounding like the auctioneer calling it the best way possible for this game. An auctioneer? Yeah. He's like, looking for the teaspoon, let's teaspoon. Oh, he actually lost a game. Taking the L to Z to L with the S shape. Puts a block in the self. Oh, he messed up. He realized he messed up. He has to get rid of that. Oh! Dang, he got hit hard. Crazy fast Tetris 1v1s. Oh my. Come on. He almost got checked right there. He has a stall tactic going on here. I have no idea why. Is it best of 7? I think it's best of 5. Wait, no, it might be best of 7. You're probably right. Let me see. Yeah, it might be best of 7. Oh my god, he got absolutely destroyed. He needs to be more aggressive. You see, he's trying to build a stack. Whoa, his opponent messed up hard. What's his opponent trying to do? Oh my god, oh my goodness. Yeah, his opponent messed up real bad. Let's see what they're trying to do here. Okay, better start. His opponent's striking faster. Oh my. How? He hit him with a double. Is he just being aggressive in the end? Oh, he messed up a little bit. He's going to have to do it. Yeah, he's going to have to do a couple T-spins there. His opponent is actually being very aggressive right now. Yeah, he's about to lose. He needs those lines, dude. He needs to keep doing the lines. Okay, so now they're at the... Oh, okay. He actually got him with a 6, sending 2 back. Wow, that is a great recovery. He's stacking again. I don't know if that's advised. Yep, that was definitely not advised. Okay, I see what he's trying to do. Oh, why didn't he go for it? He's still stacking. He's looking for the stacks. He's not really looking for... Uh-oh. His opponent's getting in there. And he got him. And he got him. That was close. That was close. That was real close. Like, holy crap, that was really close. Why didn't I switch to... I thought I switched over to Botanist. I don't know why I feel like I'm doing things when I'm not doing things. Oh no, Logan Paul is actually... He's actually evil again. Huge Pokemon scam. That was 7 minutes ago? My first breakup at 40. Oh gosh, that's right. Gabriel Iglesias he got divorced. Oh my goodness. I wonder what happened though. He sounded like he had like the best of his life there, unless his wife was like, "I'm tired of your shit. I'm tired of your shit." The hell? What was it? I'll figure that one out later. I'll watch that one later. Ubisoft hackers are back to destroy. What? What are you? Yeah, let me see something here.
Man, Ubisoft just cannot catch a break, can they? You may recall that over the last few days, I've been reporting on a massive hack that Ubisoft recently suffered, especially
Yeah,
Rainbow Six Siege being
I
a
can't
target
show that on
was
stream
ravaged
at all.
by the
That
hack
Muppets
due to the
Family
fact
Guy
that,
skit.
I mean, the ban notices were getting spammed by these hackers on top of the fact that tons of currency, I mean, millions to billions to trillions worth, handed out to all players on top of a bunch of skins, including developer skins, and it forced Rainbow Six Siege to go down and for developers over the holidays to work on fixing everything and rolling everything back. And then there were reports that terabytes worth of data was stolen from Ubisoft, be it source code and just software code as well as user data. Turns out that bit was exaggerated by hackers. There were like 5 hacker groups, and only one of them actually managed to breach Ubisoft. That hacker group was the one who essentially took Rainbow Six Siege down. And then a bunch of other hackers try to claim that they stole all this data.
It is
That,
done.
one of the hacker groups came
Folklore
and said, actually,
obtained.
none of that is true. And so there's been some drama between certain hacker groups, with some of them trying to gain clout through this whole situation amidst the chaos.
All
so all of that
folklore
I
has
discussed
been
in these two
obtained.
videos right here. But now let's talk about the most recent hack situation involving Rainbow Six Siege. This comes in just days after the first hack was
Now I
resolved,
can get
with
anything.
Rainbow Six Siege being targeted, this time with essentially ban notices that tell players they've been banned for 67 days, referencing the viral 67 meme that's been making the rounds. What people have been
67. I hate
encountering
that
is
meme
this
so
message
much.
right here: harassment offense. You're currently suspended from any matchmaking session for 67 days due to harassment. This was the notification that a bunch of players as well as streamers got while they were playing the game. Now, this hack does seem to be less severe than the previous one, given that players aren't actually getting banned. They're not being handed out tons of currency or skins that they aren't supposed to have. Basically, hackers are using this opportunity to spam these kinds of messages that actually have no real impact.
This is just
As
trolling,
PC
I'm
Games
guessing.
and reports right here, it was quickly apparent that this was not a legitimate ban, referring to the message here that highlights how people are banned for 67 days due to harassment. The ban
hate
isn't
that.
actually real. It's just a message and notification that's being spammed to players. PC Games N's report continues. It was apparent this was not a legitimate ban, and not only because of the clear 6-7 reference, Varsity Gaming could still queue for ranked matches, and on restarting his game, the message disappeared. Referring to a streamer who was playing this game, got this notification, was there when the hack happened, but was still able to
It's just
play the
trolling.
game despite these messages getting spammed. But the report
But these
continues,
hackers
however,
has to be- they have to
nuanced
be
new
young to
messages
use
would
the
appear. And there's
67
footage out
meme.
there showing what the streamer
The
was
6-7
experiencing
meme.
as this hack was happening live on stream.
Guys, I think this is a targeted thing. I don't think they kicked the people out of the servers.
So yeah, this is not supposed to be there. Some nice text up here.
Huh.
That's not supposed to be there.
Some nice text.
That's hackers
Might
trolling.
not be good.
Look at this, 906 unread notifications.
We want to let you know that 67676767 of your reports led to sanctions.
So a troll message.
I got 900 notifications of this all today.
Gosh. Oh my gosh, I hate people.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's not good, chat. That's really, really bad.
And while the game is technically playable, this is all still incredibly disruptive, and it doesn't change the fact that there's security concerns surrounding playing this game right now, given that hackers have so much free reign over aspects of it. While this instance is not the worst case scenario for a hack of this nature, it doesn't mean there aren't concerns surrounding Rainbow Six Siege's security and the potential of hackers continuously breaching this game to the point where the game just becomes constantly dysfunctional for long stretches of
They were
time.
rolling
or
with the
worst case
6-7
scenario,
meme? Oh,
resulting in, genuine data leaks that might compromise, the developers, Ubisoft, the company, as well as players and customers and their data. And yeah, I mean, you can see right here that as a result of this hack, Rainbow Six Siege is down yet again. If you go to Ubisoft's official website that tells you about the server status of Rainbow Six Siege, you'll find that across all platforms, there are outages and connectivity is degraded. And this is the case across every single platform. This is not an isolated incident. This is something that we're seeing multiple people report, with plenty of screenshots like this one highlighting the legitimacy of this hack. And then on top of all that, we saw more hacker activity in the form of these kinds of messages appearing on the top of the main menu screen of Rainbow Six Siege, potentially suggesting that Rainbow Six Siege may have been hacked a third time shortly after the second hack, involving the ban messages that say that people have been banned for 67 days. Or this is all part of the same hack, but either way, it doesn't change the fact that Rainbow Six Siege is being severely disrupted to the point where the game had to shut down yet again, and that's losing Ubisoft a lot of money, and it's certainly negatively impacting players' experiences.
Oh, yeah, the
I mean, the kinds of messages we're seeing through this, either a third hack or, an extension of the second hack, include things like kudo smells from Snuffles, or messages like this one right here involving a hacker in someone's stream who was typing self-promos live in this individual's game. You can see right here that they're promoting their, Twitter account.
67676767.
There's even footage out there of this hack happening live to streamers who are experiencing this as they're streaming the game. So this individual, for example, had the following experience.
What does my game say? Hey, furry princess!
Yeah, you can see right here, these messages are rampant, saying all kinds of random trolly things.
What?
People are
You're
baffled,
such a cute furry. What?
amused.
What are you doing?
The messages just get weirder and weirder.
Exposed. Yo, type 7 at the top if I'm a furry, Ubisoft, and you're in my room.
Hackers are just trolling this game left and right. Here's one more individual who was streaming the game and saw this hack happen. They saw their message say,
funny,
"You're
actually.
being hacked," at the top of Rainbow Six Siege's menu. And yeah, you can see right here, you are being hacked in the screenshot of this individual. Those who are in the know about the Rainbow Six Siege situation might not be particularly scared of that message, understanding that it's mostly a troll job. But there are a lot of folks who don't know what's going on. A lot of your average Joes who are playing this game who might not be super in tune with gaming news, who will look at the situation and be genuinely concerned and worried and get trolled pretty hard. Now, Ubisoft is aware of this, but it took them about 24 hours for them to respond, with the official Rainbow Six Siege Twitter page having posted the following message just 37 minutes ago as of the recording of this video. It reads right here: if you received a ban notification between 1 p.m. Eastern Time and 5 p.m. Eastern Time on January 4th, this was not official and can be disregarded. Note that receiving these false notifications does not result in a real ban. The esports blue banner has also been temporarily disabled following reports of unofficial messaging. With the team back at full capacity, we're working on resolving recent issues such as the synchronization errors and server disconnects. Thank you for your support. And the thing is, beyond the disruptions being caused by hackers, people have been requesting that Rainbow Six Siege fix a number of other technical problems. Like, for example, this individual breaks down how The mic bug is still unresolved, how players are forcibly being removed from live matches with streamers being targeted, how cheating is still rampant, how the reports of wrongful harassment bans resurfacing, referring to the most recent hacks. But yeah, I mean, the main thing is that people are finding the ability to play Rainbow Six Siege untenable because this just keeps happening over the course of many days. There are concerns about whether it's safe to play this game at all, and there are questions about whether Ubisoft itself and its data, whether it's source code, whether it's software data, whether it's user data, whether any of that stuff is actually safe from hackers who seem to be able to continuously and consistently invade Ubisoft servers and cause disruptions and potentially lead to more security concerns, whether Ubisoft will be able to plug all the security holes or if this is a pattern that we can expect to continuously happen over the next few days, weeks, months, or years. Right now, Ubisoft is not inspiring a whole lot of confidence, and even if for now user data is safe or Ubisoft source code is safe, it doesn't change the fact that that could very well change in the future. And with Ubisoft not being, fully transparent about the way they're communicating about this whole situation, they're not mentioning the fact that they were hacked. They're just calling this whole situation an incident and how they're resolving issues without fully alerting people that we've been compromised, but we're doing everything in our power to plug all of those holes. That'd be a more confidence inspiring message than them trying to obfuscate the fact that things are pretty bad for Rainbow Six Siege in particular, and potentially for Ubisoft if these kinds of hacks continue, and if, God forbid, these hacks start to get more severe and the amount of impact that they're having and how much it's compromising Ubisoft as a company and all of the data housed within. For now, the most recent hacks mainly seem to have affected Rainbow Six Siege, but I'm going to keep my eyes peeled and report on this so that you're able to be informed about what's going on in case things do get worse and you are someone who engages with Ubisoft products or, with Rainbow Six Siege specifically, and you need to be aware of potentially more sensitive and invasive types of hacks and exfiltration of data or, breaches of personal information. This situation will no doubt continue to develop. In the meantime, this is everything you need to know. And I'd love to hear what your thoughts and opinions on.
Okay, what do you guys think? What do you think is going on here? Because this is some craziness going on. There's some craziness going on with this. The hacking is kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. It's tell me this is you, Ubisoft. Put a 7 in there. 7. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Okay, so they're taking 300 per corn. Kind of what I would expect for corn. But what about making of said? So crafting recipe. Oh. So how's making of said? Oh, it's easy. It should be. Oh yeah, this is super easy. Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. Okay, so I can make that super easy. Can you make 3 at a time? The palm sugar. I think I need the milk. No. What do I need for that? Ow. What's a crafting recipe for that? Palm. Oh, I need palm syrup. And where would I get that? The Great Works. Right there. Okay. So I can make that. I'm pretty sure. Yep, this is super easy. Recommend craftsman is very low. Okay. And here's the milk. Oh, you know what? I think this is scripts, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure this is like either orange or purple scripts. I think that's orange scripts. Apparently I need 580 control required. I can eat food for that, I think. If not, I have to start making my crafting gear. Let me see. Let me try this for instance. Nope. I need to have better food. Let's try this. Wow. Okay, just made it off the alley pie, but like, okay, I see. Which means that it's going to be a bit harder for me to make it. Because I just got into... Okay. I need to work on my crafting then. Or my crafting gear then. Which means that I would... And then there's leather working, right? So it's this and leather working? Which means I need the tools, right? This is... Yeah. Right here. Right here. The boots and the gloves. Alright, so the boots and the glove are here. I think I may be missing one more thing. And I do not have the tools for that. I have to get the tools for that. And I guess it's the rings that are here. Codex, brush, index, codex, brush index. No? Carpenter? Healing. There it is. Yeah. Okay. I hope armor doesn't have anything. I'll double check. Scouting, frying pan. Oh, I can make my stuff. Okay. Okay. Okay, I think I have added them all. Okay. So it's mainly going to be weaver, leather worker. Oh yeah, I forgot goldsmithing. It's obviously going to be in goldsmithing too, right? Wand, bending, healing, crafting. So it was the necklace. And I need craftsmanship. So I need to get all their all the tools for each and every one of them, which shouldn't be so bad. It's a lot easier to get orange scripts for crafting than it is for gathering. But we're good. Change the screen. I'll change what we see. What the heck? Oh man, he has bad news. Oh man. One behavior quietly weakens your brain. Strange cat behaviors explained. Why do they do what they do?
Cats are intelligent animals that behave in ways we may find strange. However, there are logical explanations behind their unusual behaviors. In this video, we will talk about 35 strange things cats do and explain the meanings behind them. Number 35. Twitchy tails. You're watching your cat do their thing around the house and notice a little twitch happening around the tip of their tail. A twitching tail tip often signals that your cat is excited or focused. This usually happens when your cat is hunting prey around the house. Once your cat is calmed down, the tail twitching should subside as well. On the other hand, if your cat's tail is swishing strongly from side to side, she is most likely feeling angry or agitated. Cramming into tiny places. Your cat may have the run of the house with every piece of furniture at their disposal to sleep on, but they choose to cram themselves in the tiniest spots. Perhaps it's a cardboard box or a drawer in your cupboard. So why do they do it? Cats feel secure in enclosed spaces. A box resembles a cave and may make your cat feel secure, knowing they are protected
Of
and
course.
cannot be attacked from behind. Boxes are also warm and cozy. They trap heat, which is ideal for cats as they
Of
naturally
course.
seek out warmth. Why your cat sleeps with you? Cats like warmer temperatures than humans do. So when the ambient temperature is a little cool, your cat is going to look for a nice warm area
That's
to
nice.
maintain their temperature, and your body is a good source of heat. Another reason your cat sleeps with you is because they want to feel safe. In the wild, lying down or sleeping makes animals more vulnerable to predators. Sleeping on top of a trusted human gives a cat a sense of security as well as comfort and warmth to sleep peacefully. Cats also sleep with you to show you affection and love. While cats can be very independent, they do miss you when you are gone from home for a long period of time and will want to cuddle with you when you get back. Why do cats raise their butt when you pet them? Stroke a cat at the base of their tail and they are likely to stick their butt up in the air. The base of a cat's tail is an erogenous zone with lots of nerve endings, so many cats enjoy being pet or scratched by a trusted person in this region. But remember, too much petting there can make them uncomfortable. Interestingly enough, female cats in heat also frequently lift their butts as a sign of affection and readiness to mate. Cats also present their rears as a friendly greeting or as a way to exchange
Wait, they do
scents.
dog things too?
So, when your feline friend raises their butt, they are trying to communicate trust and friendliness. Why cats make bird noises? Cats are known for their fast and intense teeth chattering, or as some will call it, bird noises. This chattering is often observed when a cat spots a bird or rodent outside of a window. Cat behaviorists believe that cats chatter in response to the excitement of seeing their hunt and the frustration of not being able to catch it. This chattering could be your cat's way of communicating their excitement, frustration, or aggression towards their prey. Regardless of the reason, this chattering is completely normal and just one of the many unique behaviors that make felines such fascinating pets. Why cats suddenly take off at 100 miles an hour? Does your cat suddenly run around the house and then suddenly stop in their tracks? Or perhaps they unexpectedly jump out at you? Cats are natural predators, and domestic cats retain this instinct to a certain extent. At times, they will feel the desire to hunt and practice their natural instincts. If a cat isn't getting enough exercise during the day, they are more likely to display these sudden bursts of energy. Why do cats lick you? Licking is often a form of grooming and expressing affection. Cats are naturally clean animals, and licking is one way to keep each other tidy. When they lick you, they're essentially
That's
giving
biting.
you a bath. It means they care about your well-being. Licking is also a way for cats to bond and show affection to their owners. By licking you, they're marking you with their scent, which is a way of claiming you as their own. Why cats bite you? Cats bite for several reasons. Cats might bite to stop unwanted action or behaviors by humans or other animals. Cats also bite to show affection, but only with gentle and more controlled nibbles. If your cat nibbles or nips a little too hard while playing with you, it's probably just an accident, as the act of playing alone is a sign of love. Why does your cat lick you and then bite you? Have you ever experienced your cat giving you a bite only to be followed by a curious licking session? If you have, you're not alone. This strange and seemingly contradictory behavior can leave many cat owners puzzled, wondering about its meaning. Often, this behavior is a sign of a love bite. But remember, if you are actively petting your cat and
Oh,
they
boy.
give your finger a lick or two and then a nice chomp, it could mean that your cat is feeling overstimulated. Cats have a threshold for petting, and when you cross it, something enjoyable can turn into irritation. In these cases, the bite is a signal to give them some space. You can usually tell a love nibble from an aggressive bite. Love bites are gentle, while aggressive bites are often paired with hissing or a stiff, bristled posture. Why do cats meow? Meowing is an interesting vocalization because adult cats don't meow at each other. Kittens meow to draw the attention of their mothers, like when they're cold or hungry. But once the kittens are grown, the meowing stops. This means that meowing is often not part of adult cat-to-cat communication.
No, it's
It is used
not.
almost exclusively with humans. In general, cats meow at people when they want something, like attention, food, warmth, or perhaps access to a closed room. Cats may even meow to greet you when you come home. Keep in mind that meowing comes in several variations, and we can interpret what our pet is trying to say by paying attention to the intensity and tone of the meow, as well as observing their body language. In general, the more intense a cat's meow, the more important or urgent the message. Short, pleasant-sounding meows are generally used as requests for food or attention, whereas long, unpleasant meowing is usually reserved for demands or to express objection or annoyance. Dilated eyes. Cats' pupils fluctuate in size and shape based on light and emotion.
Okay.
By dilating their pupils, cats allow even tiny amounts of light into their eyes so they can see better in the dark. During the day, cats contract their pupils depending on how bright it is. Interestingly enough, pupil size can also be an indication of your pet's mood. If the ambient light is normal but your cat's pupils are dilated, it can imply that your cat is not relaxed or is stimulated. Your cat could be stressed, anxious, excited, or in fear. Cats also have dilated pupils during their heat cycle. In situations that produce enjoyment, like when they've just eaten their favorite food, a cat's pupils may dilate as a reflex. It's important to remember that some health conditions present dilated pupils as symptoms. If there is enough ambient light and no stimuli or stressors, but your cat's eyes are persistently dilated, then it's time to visit a vet. Why do cats trill? Trilling is a chirpy, high-pitched sound that is mostly used by female cats. This is because when kittens are young, the mother cat will trill at them as a cue to encourage her kittens to follow her, or as a strategy to capture her kitten's attention. If your cat is trilling at you, there's a good chance they're requesting the same. They want to get your attention. Cats also trill to greet their humans. It's a cat's way of saying, "Hello, I'm here." All in all, the trilling sound is almost always a sign of a positive emotion or a welcoming vibe. It often
Okay. I'm looking at the time here. It's like 8 o'clock. I do need... let me see something here. It is collectibles. Okay, so I do need more of the gargantua leather. I might have sold that by accident, but I need to get all of this back, and I need to make more so that I can get all of the orange tools. And then I could start crafting if I can find where I have the folklore, so now there's no excuse now. I can find everything that I need to find. Yeah. Yeah. I think we are at that point, folks. I think we're done for the day. Think we're done for the day. It was good. It was good. We got stuff done and we talked. We talked. We had a good time. We talked a little bit. Ow. Fight Kirby? Hell no. Kirby and I aren't fighting. We have a picnic. We're going on a picnic if he's in my dreams. In any case, you guys have yourselves a good one. Tomorrow is Tuesday, so I gotta remember a lot of things that's happening tomorrow. Alright. Y'all have a good one.